All right, sports fans, welcome out to another episode of the Gridiron 64. This will be episode number 8, part 2, the breakdown. We're going to be breaking down week 7 of the GI 64 schedule. We had some good games. We'll also be talking about our game of the week and the state game. And now I'm going to turn it over to Big T, Tony Pena, as he'll be leading us. He'll be leading the breakdown. Go ahead, Big T.
All right, so we had a pretty predictable week 7. I think we all did pretty good here. There's some games that kind of threw us for a loop, but for the most part, pretty predictable, and we knew that going into week 7. So the first game we're going to talk about Raymondville over Robstown, 54-6. So Johnny, you actually picked Robstown on this game. So let me know what your thoughts are on this game. You know what led you to pick Robstown, and were you surprised in the deficit in this game?
I was very, very shocked on that deficit. I mean, it's nothing what I thought it was going to be like. I mean, I just thought Robstown was going to do this. Playing a close game against what was it, Portisville? Am I right?
No, they had
Yes,
Raymondville.
yeah. Well, they had a close game with Portis, but they scored 40 points on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was going by. And after seeing Raymondville in person, I just didn't think that their offense is pretty good. I mean, I got to give them that. They run basically they run everything off that offense. The thing was, like, I thought their disciplinary was gonna like kill them. I just don't think they're a very disciplined team there, and I just thought Robstown was gonna pull this one off. I was rooting for them. Not only rooting for them, I really thought they were gonna pull this thing off. Just the way because of how they played Port Isabel. But I was way off. I mean, it was right off the bat. It was 41-6 at the half. So the game was pretty much over at the half, So, yeah, I wasn't expecting like a comeback on that one. I was like, yep, that's a loss for me.
All right, and Gabriel, you picked Raymondville. So what was it about Raymondville that led you to think that they were going to win this game, and were you surprised on the deficit in this score?
Yeah, I thought that Raymondville would win. I didn't think they were going to win like they did. Raymondville, obviously this year, they're not as good as they have been in the past. But, they've got a lot of tradition out there. They play hard. For me, it was more about Robstown. I was very surprised with the points that they scored against Port Isabel. But when I looked at Port Isabel, they've got some young guys out there, too. They're going to get better as the season progresses and probably next year. But for me, it was Robstown. Could Robstown be consistent? And they hadn't shown that this year, getting up to district. They play a lot of the smaller schools in preseason that I think they should be able to win or at least be competitive with, and they don't. So this one game that they had against Port Isabel was a great showing, but I just wasn't convinced that they could do that consistently. And obviously, I was right. They just, I think they're going to get better. They got a new coach out there. They're just not consistent enough. They do good one week, and that's something that you got to learn with a new coach. Something you got to bring your program, and it takes some time to build. So I think they're on the right track. But Raymondville, whether they have the athletes this year or not, that's still a good football team down there in the valley, and they come out to play hard. And I just didn't think that Robstown was going to be good enough to beat them or be consistent. Still got to learn how to play 4 quarters and build off of what they did against Port Isabel, take it to the next week. And they're just not there yet. So I just wasn't convinced, and I thought Raymondville would win. But yes, I was surprised. As Johnny said, the score at halftime, I thought that Robstown would at least compete, and they did not. So we'll see what happens. They got Westoso coming up this week. We'll see what they can do against them. But, yeah, no surprise that Raymondville beat Robstown this past Friday.
Well, I also picked Raymondville to win. But I will say that I did believe that the game would be competitive, and going into district, just based off of preseason games, I really thought Port Isabel was a tougher team down in the valley, and for Robstown to play them in the district opener, and score 40 points. They didn't win that game, but they scored 40 points. It made me believe that Robstown maybe had something going for them. And then they go and lose pretty big to Raymondville. So I mean, like Gabriel said, Raymondville does have a winning tradition down there. They're normally the team that's the toughest in that district, and maybe they're coming alive. Maybe they're making a late district run to try to get that third spot. So we'll see. Uh, but yeah, I figured Raymondville was going to win this game, but I did not think it was going to be by that much. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Well, I tell you that the stats lead me to believe that because I have not put on any tape for Robstown this year, but the stats lead me to believe that usually they're outmatched by size. Usually Robstown, they're all scrappers and they're great athletes down there. I love the heart that they play with, but they're usually undersized. So I gotta imagine that that was the case in this matchup. The rushing yards that they gave up, they gave up 257 rushing yards on 34 carries. Not much passing in the game. My primo down there, Jason Cantu, he only put the ball. He only had 6 completions on 10 attempts, so 125 yards. But he threw 2 touchdowns in those 10 attempts, but not a ton of yards. So I mean, that just leads me to believe that they grounded and pounded him. So to me, I'm imagining that Robstown had a small line out there and they just got outmatched, outsized, because we know them Valley boys grow big down there. You know what I'm saying? They got that good dirt. They got that good dirt down there. So, you know what I'm saying? They grow big over there. So, and I think that might have been the case right there. But there's something to say about that, them starting to play better, because I mean, not only this game was I surprised by a Valley team, but the game that Rockport played, I was surprised by a Valley team. So I didn't think that, neither one of those teams are going to come to play, and we're going to put up much of a fight this year to this Coastal Bend teams area, and then after seeing Robstown put up 40 against Port Isabel, I was like, I kind of phoned it in, to tell you the truth. I want to know more in detail why you guys with against Robstown, because it, I mean, the numbers kind of sway, like it kind of, like, all right, like, or was it a coin flip or what? I mean, because, I really thought Robstown on paper, them putting up the points that they did against the, and then I guess maybe I'm just putting too much into one game, right? Just put too much confidence in the one game against Port Isabel. And so I don't know. But yeah, I took the loss on this one. I had Robstown. I was kind of disappointed, with their efforts, only mustering 8 points. Either way, it's a poor effort. I'm sure. I hope that. So they got West Oso next, huh, Gabe?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And I just want to add that Robstown, I don't think they're bad. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. They got good athletes out there. The 40 points shows me they're capable of doing that every week. They just got to get there. The program's got to get there. They've got to believe and get there. I think a lot of times, guys, when you lose a lot, it's hard. I remember it took Rockport a while to get us going. We come in there and our expectation, I think, I didn't play football, right? But it seemed like as a fan, right, when I was in school, hey, we get to the playoffs, we were happy. I never thought about third. I was trying to get in the playoff or beat Gregory-Portland, not even the playoffs. But the big game was if we could beat or compete against Gregory-Portland, and we were good. And now Rockport, getting it out of the first round, it's like we're talking now third round, fourth round. So I think for Robstown, the talent is there. It's just a matter of building that program up. We can compete with these guys. We've got to show, that we can compete and play 4 quarters and good things happen. And so they were able to put one against a good, decent Port Isabel team, right? But then they come back and they falter. They go back to playing the way they have. So I think they're on the right track, and it's just a matter of continuing to build on those points of the offense and play hard. And I'm not saying they're not playing hard, but be able to show, because I think they should have scored more against a Raymondville team. But we'll see what happens. But I was surprised at the score. But hopefully Robstown will continue to be competitive with some of these teams as we continue to play in this regular season.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of at the roster. I mean, they're running with the sophomore quarterback and sophomore and junior running back. So, Robstown, to be able to have a little bit of glory against a team like Port Isabel and score 40 points and get 2 games early on in the preseason. I mean, it's kind of promising for what they have in the future. I don't see them making a big turnaround this season, but I do look for them to stay competitive in their football games. And next year, they, like I said, they got a sophomore quarterback and they got some young players down there. So, we might be seeing something different in Robstown. You never know. Next game we got, I figured that this would be split, but we all actually went with GP on this one. GP gets a big win, 53-27 over Victoria West. Yeah, I figured Johnny was gonna go with Victoria West, but he didn't. But Johnny, tell me what your thoughts are on this game.
Well, GPs have been turning it on this year, and so as I said when we picked these state games, I'm pretty well jumping on the bandwagon with them. So even though I hate my primos over there, but after all these years of getting nagged on me, but hey, I got to go with them, man. Brett Davis, got his head coach. Brett Davis got his 200th win for this game. So, but Dalvin Betts, buddy, 301 yards rushing on 35 carries, 3 touchdowns. Boy's a workhorse. That's a lot of carries for a high school kid, 35 carries. Hey, GP pretty well put it away, before the half. They scored 18 points in the final 1 minute and 46 seconds left in the half. 18 points. A guy by Gabriel Juarez had a 65-yard fumble return in that time frame. So everything was going for them before that half. I think in the last 8 seconds they scored 15 points. So hey, that's something going into the half. A lot of teams, 2 minutes, you might get a touchdown out of it. You're happy, you're going up. But when you score 18 points in the last less than 2 minutes left in the half, that is something. That's a momentum going into the half. So GP had everything running for him. Just ground game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I'm looking at the stats, and West had more passing yards by about 100, and Portland has more rushing yards by about 200. But I mean, it's pretty close all the way down. Everywhere else, tackles and defense, and GP even gave them a chance. They lost 2 fumbles in this game. You know what I mean? They try to give West a chance, but GP defense shows out. And we talked about let me see, I got my notes. We talked about one of their linebackers really having a good season over there. Let me see, what is his name? Let's see. Jeez, I can't find it in my notes. But anyways, I know there was a linebacker we were talking about earlier on when we were going to try to get the coach on, and he just really having a good season over there. But I mean, GP, like you said, they really are turning it on, and like I said, I think they're going to be number 2 in this district. You know what I mean? I really do, and I think that if they have another chance to play Veterans Memorial, I mean, it was a close game the first time. I think it'll be even closer game the second time. And who knows? What happened with Miller and Veterans Memorial a couple of years ago, where they met back up in the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they meet up again in the playoffs. With their district foe again. So we'll see. Gabriel, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. GP's been playing really good. They've been consistent, and even in the losses that they've had here in district, they've been competitive. They haven't been blown out since the Calallen game, really, and then Bernie. So this team is no surprise. It's hard to pick against Gregory-Portland right now in the regular season because they're just playing well. Like I said, even when they're getting beat, they're competing. They give themselves a chance to win the game. So I think you're right, Tony. I think they're going to be the second team. Listen, what I'm wondering here is earlier in part one today, we had Veterans Memorials coach, right? Ben Bittner on, and we talked about his program and the young guys that he's got coming back. GP's got some young guys coming back next year. So one thing we're going to be talking about next year on the Gridiron 64 is Veterans Memorial GP. It's going to be a battle. You never know what Florida Bluff's going to do in the Victoria schools, right? But at least we know GP's got a lot of players coming back. Veterans Memorial's got a lot of players coming back. It's a good game this year. So, wow. But that's next year. This year, no surprise. I mean, GP's probably going to win out here and see where they play. And listen, if they get to the second seed, they could go 2-3 rounds. I mean, they put themselves really in a good place to win the first round, a playoff matchup, and then you never know what happens in round 2. So this is a good built up because people really didn't think at the start of the season, people weren't talking about GP. I said, we got to look out for GP. Wasn't sure exactly what they were going to do, but now people are talking about them. And these guys, they're for real, and they're doing it on the offense and defense. They can score and they can play defense. So watch out for these guys. Tony, if you have the schedule, who's GP scheduled to play next week? Do you have it there? Does anybody know?
I believe it was King.
Yeah.
I was looking at last year right now. They only won 3 games last year. We're talking about a team that just won 3 games last year. I mean, talk about a turnaround season.
But I'm going to tell you something. This is what leads me to believe the talent's always been there. Something was going on. Now look, I was talking to some of the Portland fans. Listen, Coach Rhodes, he's won championships at Cameron, so we know he's a great coach. The fit might have not been good in Portland between him and the coach, right? But there's no denying this was a great coach. Rhodes has proven that he can win championships at the highest level. So it just didn't work out for them. But then there's always been talent there. Davis comes in, they get the right coach for what they want to do. And in his first year, he comes in, the kids buy into his program. I was kind of following what they were doing. He was working the kids out hard. I was reading over the offseason. Some of these kids were throwing up after practice, and he was working them. And all this is paying off now. And so he's putting these boys in a position to be successful. The program is successful. So, yeah, let's see what they do in the playoffs. Obviously, do they have anybody else, Tony, outside of the Corpus schools? Have they played Victoria East, Victoria West now? They played Vets and Florida Bluff, right?
They got Victoria East in 2 weeks.
Okay, so they still got one where they can go either way, right? Wow. Well, if they win that game, they're pretty much going to get the second spot, behind Vets, and Vets wins out, and of course you never know what can happen. But man, this is going to be something to watch in the playoffs. But no surprise that GP gets this win again. I thought that they would. I did pick Gregory-Portland, correct?
Yeah, everyone was Gregory.
This one
I for sure thought Johnny was gonna go with one of the Victoria schools, but no, he went with GP. Everyone went with GP on this game.
Yeah. Okay.
Steve, you're the only one we haven't heard from. What is your thought? I know you got friends over there. What did they say when they found out you picked GP?
There's a few things I want to touch on, right? We're gonna save the last little nugget for the end because I think it's pretty serious conversation when you start talking about GP and the coaching staff. So you guys left me some good nuggets behind. I appreciate that. Okay. So what I saw or what I'm looking at is that the big difference was on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
Those guys had 11 sacks for the game, Gabriel. 11 sacks in one game. Now that's flying to the ball. And that really surprised me when I seen that. I was like, holy crap, is that wrong? They had
Look
11.
at that roster. Sophomore, junior, junior. Look at that roster.
Yeah, that is crazy. So the other thing that stood out to me was kickoffs. Okay. They obviously have a kid down there with one hell of a boot. All right. He had a kickoff for a total of 378 yards, averaging 47 yards a kick. So what does that tell you? I mean, that's field position, right? He's pinning their tails deep. Yeah, that kid's got a boot. You know what I'm saying? His longest kick of the day was 60 yards. And Johnny knows it's all about special teams. And that's where it starts, about field position. if he pins you deep and you make sure you have to drive it, 80 yards, it's not going to be, you're not going to have a lot of success. You know what I'm saying? With the kicker like that. So that stood out. And then the punts, right? The kid that was the punt return, he had 3 punt returns for 124 yards. His average was 41 yards a punt return. That's awesome, right? So, I mean, you look at the stats, they're doing it all 3 phases of the game. And that's what makes them special right now. They're putting up the numbers, and I love to talk about the offensive numbers. And I love that lefty quarterback that they got down there, and they're throwing the ball. They got a huge tight end down there, and they're running the ball well. But this is something that it just really caught my eye, that special teams and how big of a difference it can make when you got a weapon like that that's kicking the ball that deep. And when you do get a chance on a punt return, and of course, in a game like this, they got the few. They capitalize there too. So they're doing it in all 3 phases of the game, and that's a great deal. Now, on to the more juicier topic. Okay, so you mentioned about GP and their turnaround, and this guy being a first-year coach and this and that. This is what I heard, and I could be wrong. I'm not from Gregory-Portland, but this is what I heard. And the last coach that came in, he was not allowed to bring in his assistants. He inherited the staff that was there from the year before.
I heard the same thing.
That's tough to do. Right? When you come in and you got this group of guys, I mean, that's like being the new kid in school all over again. Right? So they got their little clique. Obviously, they're going to report to you because you're the head coach and you're the guy in charge. But, things are cliquey. This guy was able to come in, fill in the roster the way he saw fit. And it was a no nonsense type of practice from what I heard, almost like a closed practice where, if he didn't want you there, you weren't there. You know what I'm saying? We all know, I mean, everybody's proud of their boys down there and they love to, be a part of that program. But it was more tight knit. I'm not saying it all went away, but it was more, he kept it tight and might have, kick-started that culture back up again and inserted that boost of energy that those guys needed. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm still not, I don't remember, I don't know enough to say what type of offense the last coach ran, but this guy definitely ain't no, hold on a second, definitely ain't no wing T, 1994 Gregory-Portland team, you know what I'm saying? So, so I mean, it might have been that energy that they needed, and they let him be him as a coach and bring his own coaching staff in there. And that might have been the shot in the arm that Gregory-Portland's been waiting on.
Well, I just want to respond to what Steve said. I heard the same thing, Coach. I heard that there was another coach. I won't mention the coach's name because I was never able to confirm it. But when they were looking before they hired Rhodes, I heard there was another coach out there that was interested in it. And the reason that coach didn't take it was because they wouldn't let him bring his assistants. They basically told him, there's certain assistants that have been here for a while and we want to keep them. And that coach pulled out. Now, the only reason I won't mention that coach's name is because I was just told from somebody from Portland before they hired Rhodes that this is the reason why this coach didn't come. So, I don't know if that's true or not. Some of these guys, they live in that area, and so they may know more than I do, but that's what I was told. And then second of all, if that is true, it is hard for a head coach to come in and not be able to bring his own team or his own coaches, right? It's just difficult. Something happened, but the talent has been in Portland that this whole time. And it's just good to see that Coach Davis was able to come in, whatever changes were made, whatever he was given, whatever they've allowed him to do, it's been working this year. And he's come in, but it showed me that the talent has always been there for Portland, and so it's good for these guys. I think it's good for Coastal Bend football, for GP to be in the mix. They've been a powerhouse a lot for many years. So it's good to have these guys winning and back in the playoffs, for the Coastal Bend area. And it's going to be exciting because now you have Flower Bluff and Betts with the Victoria School. So it makes it very interesting. But for me, it's good that these guys are winning and coming back. Now, I'm not a GP fan. We always played against them. So I'm like Johnny. But I do like to see good programs that have been good get back on the winning track, and it's good to see them there. How far they'll go this year. Listen, Tony and Johnny and Steve, I don't know that this team can't get to the third round to where they're playing. I mean, this is a scary team. And so, you know, when they get in the playoffs, we'll definitely be following and see what they do there. But right now they're playing loose and they're playing with confidence. And they think, I would say that team, you put them on the football, but they think they can beat anybody. They're not scared of anybody. So, like I said, it's scary. I mean, this team's getting confidence every week, so we'll see how far GP goes. But, Coach, I just wanted to reply. I heard the same thing you did. How true it is, I don't know, but I heard the same thing.
Well, all I gotta say is in the season opener when they played Calallen and scored 20 points, I was like, they scored 20 points on Calallen. I'm like, this team, there's something going on here. They lost that game,
Yeah.
but because they scored 20 points on Calallen, I was really impressed with them, and they really, really have been getting better week after week after week. I mean, and significantly better at that. So the next game we have was a lot closer than I thought it was gonna be. I didn't think it was going to be a landslide, but it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. We got Miller taking a win over Alice 48-44. Johnny, you're the only one that picked Alice. And Alice almost had this game. So
Man,
I'm gonna go to you first and tell me what your thoughts are on this game.
Alice did have it, dude. Miller's offense just turned it up in the second half, man. As Gabriel was saying, you know, they have that running back, they have that runner. And I was making a point that Alice's pass defense has been good this year, you know. And Miller, you know, Miller's going to throw the 300-400 yards, but Miller only had 209 yards passing. And one of their backs had a pick six, you know. So it just shows you their pass defense I was relying on. But then again, they went to the ground with Ethan Greenwood with 53 carries.
Dude,
53.
I thought that was wrong. I was stuck on that. I said, that's got to be a typo, bro. 54 carries?
But, you know, he only got 202 yards, though. You know, but you keep that ball on the ground, you keep that clock running, you know, it's something. You know, he still put the ball in the end zone 3 times, you know, so I couldn't believe how many carries a guy can have, you know, but I guess that took away the passing, you know, because, you know, like I said, as Gabriel was saying, you know, they're going to do the run, you know, they're going to respect Alice's defense, pass defense. And that's what I was going by, you know, because I was looking at what they were giving up per game, you know, and it wasn't because the team wasn't passing 5-7 times. I mean, there was teams passing 15, 16 times, you know, against them. So, you know, but giving up 107 yards, 56 yards, you know, so I thought they had it, you know, but they did have a pick six, so in there too, off of him. But man, it was 28-15 at the half, you know, so it was like could have gone either way, you know. But man, Miller still, you know, with the 463 total yards, you know, it's just Matthew Ortiz for Alice had 318 yards and 4 touchdowns, you know, and Alejandro Vasquez at receiving 167 yards receiving, you know, himself had more receiving yards basically that the whole Miller offense had, you know, so it was backwards on that game, you know, so Alice was the one you know, throwing the ball, you know, they were the team keeping up with Miller, you know, but 3 turnovers in the second half by Alice really screwed them up, you know. Miller started off the second half on an onside kick, you know, and they recovered it, you know, so from there on it just went downhill for Alice, you know. I think Miller scored maybe 10 points, 10 or 14 unanswered points to start off the second half. I mean, I it was there, you know, and Miller's, I think, I don't know the detail. I think maybe y'all might know the detail. I think Miller scored the winning drive at the very end. I think I was watching it on the news, in fact, what they were doing live on that one. But man, I really thought Alice's pass defense was going to do it, you know, but they did good, but they just couldn't pull off the high-powered offense of Miller, man. It's just one team that's going to give up those yards, you know, the passing yards. Every team done it, you know, but Miller's going to come right back one way or the other.
Absolutely. You know, Miller had to find another way to win because You know, they got their backs up against the wall and they can't complete. I mean, they completed passes. Okay, he. If you look at percentage, they both completed about the same percentage of passes. You know, you had 65% completions from uh Brown as you did from Ortiz. Ortiz, right? That's the quarterback from Alice.
Yes.
Yeah. So the is 65 versus 68. The biggest difference was they were only getting 8 yards per catch. You know what I mean? Miller was only getting 8 yards per catch, whereas Alice was getting 25 yards per catch. So that was a big difference there. But you're right. You know, Miller takes it to the ground. It's not something that they're accustomed to, but we've seen that back. You got to use when you got somebody like that, and you got an offensive line like you got. You got to use them, especially in games where you can't pass it. Johnny, you were absolutely right. That defense was lights out. You know, it's not like Miller to be under 200 yards passing in the game. So you know they find a way to win. They win late. Actually, Alice did get the lead late in the fourth quarter, and Miller didn't have a lot of time to score, but they did end up scoring in the end. I'm not really sure the minutes detail, but I remember I was watching it on my phone, and uh Alice had took the lead, and I thought, okay, well the game's about to be over. You know what I mean? And Miller makes a late run and with a little bit of time and scores. Um, Gabriel, what is your thought on this game?
I picked Miller, right? I
Johnny was
picked
the only one with Alice.
Okay, so well, this is the thing. I agreed with Johnny that they weren't going to be able to dominate the pass on Alice like they did other teams. But they had Greenwood. They just don't utilize them a lot because they're a passing team. So I would say Alice won the battle. I mean, when you can hold Miller 200 something yards, you won the battle with the way this team throws. And I wish I could have been there because I think it was a good game. It could have gone either way. I thought it could have gone either way. Miller, scored last, I think, and so they win the game. But doesn't take away anything from Alice and the way they can play. I think as you move forward, though, Alice will be the team in that 4A Division One. I think they're going to be the team that's going to get in the playoffs. Obviously, Miller has the edge over them now with this win. So you definitely have Calallen, and you still got to see what Calhoun's going to do. But I think you're looking in that 4A Division One already. Now anything can change, but it looks like it'll be Calallen, Calhoun, Alice, and Miller. The seeding, I don't know, right? But it looks like those two are going to be there. So this was a great game. I mean, Alice, be able to hold that high power offense. When you get into that playoffs, that secondary can hold against the passing. So this team might be something. They might be able to do something in the playoffs. But yeah, that running back that they have, he's a big boy. And let me tell you, Tony, like you said, they've got that big old line that can wear a defense down. We saw them in the scrimmage. So that's another tool that Coach Evans has. He doesn't go to it often, but they can bury you with the run and take time off the clock if they have a lead, because that line can really wear down a defense. And then this back, that's 3-4 yards pretty much guaranteed. So they can get in the end zone. So that's something that they had to go to. But ordinarily, I still think that Miller's going to try to score through the pass. They're not going to go to that run too many times. But it's good to have it there, and definitely they were able to utilize that and get a big win over Alice the Coyotes. So great game, though, and good job with both teams. But congratulations to Miller on getting the win over a tough Alice team.
Yeah, I tell you what, it definitely doesn't get easier for Miller. I mean, they got Calallen next, then they got Calhoun. They might maybe catch a break with Teloso Midway. They really Teloso Midway has been really causing some stink for some teams. You know what I mean? They're not getting blown out. You know what I mean? They're really disrupting some offenses. They're not winning
Well,
games, but they're
Tony, real
disrupting
quick,
offenses.
real quick before you go to the next guy, that game, that first tab between Teloso Middle and Calallen last week was pretty close. I was keeping an
But
eye on it.
that's what I'm saying. It's not going to get easier for Miller. I mean, they got Calallen, they got Calhoun, and that's why I said. I mean, you never know how it's going to go with Teloso Midway, because they find a way to slow offenses down. I mean, look, Rockport only scored 28 points on them, and then they got Beeville, and Beeville even though Beeville didn't have a great year last season. I mean, a great season last year. They had a shootout with them. It was 80 something to 70 something. So the road is definitely going to get harder for Miller the rest of the season. So, we'll start to see how their district unfolds as far as seeding in the next 2 or 3 weeks for sure. Steve, what are your thoughts on this game, Steve?
Well, man, 54 carries. Bro, I think I'd call CPS on that coach if he ran my kid 54 times. I mean, but here's the thing, right? So they had a total of 72 carries for 299, almost 300 yards. But 54 carries, 243 yards, but the kid was only averaging 4.5. So I mean, he wasn't gashing them, you know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously 54 carries to, it took him 54 carries to get to 243 yards. So, here's my initial thought. My first thought before I started to scroll and look at some of the averages and stuff, because the 54 number jumps at you, that's just common sense. That 54 number, 54 carries in a game jumps at you. But so my initial thought was like, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy really found something that can help their offense be more efficient, be better. If you can imagine Miller's offense being able to be better. But if he ran the ball more, you know what I'm saying, it would really open up his offense, and he'd find out that it'll make his passing a lot better, and they'd get more quality wins. So that was my first thought. Like, okay, well, shit, he might have stumbled across something, because obviously the guys there and they use them sparingly, that they're more, but get it down the field type of offense. But like I said, but then I look at the average. So, well, shit, look how many carries it took him to get there. You know what I'm saying? So I see why he's throwing the ball that far, throwing the ball that much. So, I mean, that's crazy to me. This game tells me more about where Alice is. All right. I'm worried about Miller, to be honest. I'm worried about Miller for everything they had to put in to this win. The amount of carries that they had to, that's 54 carries. That's crazy. I just can't get past that. And then, the offense, you know what I'm saying? He had his shares of throws, 35 attempts. So they were still putting the bar up there. But to me, it talks more about Alice and their defense and how they really can rally up and play a damn good team as hard as they want to be tested. You know what I'm saying? I mean, early in the season, I was, Alice was the fifth word out of my mouth every time, you know what I'm saying? And I really thought that they're doing well. And they suffered a couple of losses and some, tough losses or whatever, but man, that's impressive. You know how Tony was impressed about the win that GP got, or the loss that GP got, early in the season. And that's just something that he goes back to, say, hey, you remember I said at 19 points, that's a win. Dude, this is awesome for Alice to play this tight of a game and to really dictate that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? They made them come off the pass. They made him forced to find something to run. And then they made him earn it on those 54 carries, because it wasn't like they were just, he was just eating them up. So that's awesome, man. I really think it's more about Alice, in this game. Although they took the loss, I would shine more light on Alice versus, what Miller had to do to get the win. So, man, great job. Both teams. Miller did what they had to do. They pulled out the win, right? By any means necessary. And I'm sure that kid was icing them knees up the next day, man, because that's a crazy game. But hats off, man.
Yeah. Okay. Next game we have, this was a split game. We got Ingleside 37-20 to West Oso. Johnny, what are your thoughts on this game? I know you picked Ingleside. You're pretty confident when you picked them, I remember. And still undefeated, 6-0. What do you got to say about Ingleside in this game?
Actually, I think I went with I wouldn't say gut instinct. It was more like experience instinct. Ingleside knows how to play the district, knows how to go into the playoffs, and West Osto's having the great games, having the good games, but they can't get on that winning record. Like I mentioned about they're playing the good teams, but they can't get the big win. There's a big difference on that. And this was basically what I was just saying. They're going to play a good team, but I don't think they could come up with a big win. And Ingleside, Ingleside not playing the strong schedule, but still they're getting that win. They're getting that win. Was it a quarterback? Leo Verirao was he rushed, had 9 carries, 86 yards, had a touchdown, and he only had one pass for 20 yards. There was the receiver, but he also had 306 total yards. Against also, but the game was a little tighter than that score showed. West also did put up a fight. I'm not going to say Ingleside took it all just because I said they had 306 total yards. This is something that also, had a few drop balls that could have turned the game around. They did just before the half, they tried to do this fake kneel down, the old Dan Marino kind of style, take the knee before the half or whatever, or just kill it. They took a knee and they quarterback threw it downfield and the guy was wide open and he dropped the ball with nobody around, just going into the half, just things like that. They need to come up, that could have been a big difference, the momentum going into the half doing that, but I apparently drop passes what hurt West also in this game, so good fight, but man, Ingleside still got something going over there.
This is what I was talking about earlier, and when we interviewed the coach. He said they played 4 quarters of football against Rio Hondo. It got to be consistent. You know what I mean? They scored no points in the first half, and they fight in the second half, scored 20. You know what I mean? But this has been their routine since the season started. They're playing in the first half and not in the second half, or they don't play in the first half and they come out in the second half and try to play from behind and try to get a win. We're still got to figure out a way to keep the game closer quarter to quarter versus only playing from behind in the second half, or only playing the first half and letting it get away in the second half. It's a routine that I'm starting to see happening over there, and the games are not getting easier. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got Robstown, but you know what I mean? Well, I mean, maybe the worst has gone past them already. They got to. I know we still got to play West also here in Rockport, but this is not a game they had to win, though. Let me stress that they didn't have to win this game to make the playoffs. They beat Rio Hondo. They just got to beat Robstown, Raymondville, and
Port Isabel.
Oh, they already lost to Port Isabel, right?
Yeah.
Is that the one No, that was Robstown. No, they haven't played Port Isabel yet. So this is not a game they had to win. Yeah. This is not a game they had to win to make the playoffs. So they still have a chance. They got Robstown, Port Isabel, Raymondville. So they can find a way to win those games. They can still go to the playoffs. They got to fix those mistakes, that Johnny talked about, dropping the ball. They got to be able to play 4 quarters every game consistently, not just against Raymondville. You know what I mean? I know going into a game with a team that's undefeated is probably mentally tough, but you got to find a way to go in there and just play your best game and win those games. You know, uh, the game was close, but just it fell on Ingleside's side. Gabriel, what are your thoughts? I mean, you also picked Ingleside. I know you talked really highly about Coach Hamrick and the kids buying into his program. Tell me a little bit more about what it is about Ingleside that had you picking them.
Well, I just thought that he'd been there a couple of years now, and the program has gotten better. Like I said, when he first got here, it was tough. They were playing Carroll, they were playing Sweeney, Warden. I mean, they were getting blown out. Sinton was getting blown out too. But they stuck with the game plan, and every year you progressively seen them get better. I think Westos was going to be good, but they're still learning. They're learning how to put 4 quarters together. And I just thought that Ingleside, like with Johnny, I agreed with Johnny. I just thought it was more of an experience. I just thought the experience was going to take over in 4 quarters. Ingleside's offense is starting to learn, and they're starting to score points consistently. And even though they haven't played anybody tough, they're doing what they're supposed to do with the teams that are in front of them. And that's how I know you're getting better. When you can blow out the teams you're supposed to blow out, even if they're not good, you're doing what you're supposed to do. That means your program is heading down the right direction. I think Westosa is going to get there, but I think they still haven't shown, like you said, some of these games, Tony, that they should have won, that they played early on and lost, they should have won, but they hadn't. And they're still learning. They got, and we heard Coach Smitty come on and say a lot of his seniors are really like seniors, but they really haven't played a lot of football. So he's like, he basically said, we're still learning how to win. The talent's there. We always talk about every year Westosa's going to have talent. They've got athletes over there. It's just a matter of putting it together for 4 quarters. So I just didn't think that. I just thought Ingleside had the most experience and that they were going to win. But it was a great game. And you're seeing Westosa make some mistakes. They clear up those mistakes and they play 4 quarters, and this team's going to win a lot more ball games. But you're right. They didn't have to win this one. It would have been good if they did. But all they got to do is win next week and win the other 2 games, and they're in. And that's, I think, something that they can still do. So I have them picked to make the playoffs. I hope they do. But great game. Westosa came to compete in Ingleside. Ingleside got the win like I thought, but Westosa came to play. And that's what they do. And I think you're going to see that throughout the regular season. They're going to come play hard. You got to come with your A game where this team can beat you.
Yeah. One thing that that I'm looking at right now, I was looking at the roster. They're pretty senior heavy, which is kind of unfortunate. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they got some guys coming up, but they're pretty senior heavy this year. So I mean, for any team, when you lose a bunch of seniors, it's really hard to come back the following year and be really good. But shoot, look at the success Portland is having. Maybe they got some guys down there that just haven't got a shot, and they're gonna start shining. Because when I look at what's going on in Portland, she's they got juniors and sophomores that are really, really making that team look really good, and it is about the coaching. And Smitty did talk about not really being able to have great practices last year with COVID and the protocols they were having down there in Corpus, and feeling like he's really getting a lot more out of them this year. But we'll see. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. Steve, what is your take on this game, and what do you think about their chances of making the playoffs?
Westosa, well, they're my pick, so I'm gonna ride with them. Obviously, Ingleside was a better team, and I I'll be the first one to admit I was wrong in this one. I missed it. I had Westosa. I have not put. I didn't give Ingleside the props that they were due. You know what I'm saying? They're playing. They're undefeated. I say all the time that I don't make the schedules, or the coaches don't make the schedules. They just go out there and play the games. Or the kids don't make the schedule. They just go out there and play the games. So Ingleside went out and beat a team that I felt that was good enough to beat them. Westosa has been, battle, I guess they had some tough games and they played well. And I just thought it was going to be their time, and this was going to be their big win for the season. If they would have got this W, this would have made their season. And well, I just missed it. So hats off to Ingleside. You know what I'm saying? I meant no disrespect. I was just really pulling for Westosa, and that didn't happen. So now we got that out of the way. Ingleside is like you said, they did what they're supposed to do. They're beating the teams that comes out, and they're undefeated. They have all the right to just sit back there and boast and really feel that 7-0 start that they've gotten off to. Man, but yeah, Westosa. Let's look a little bit into this, because I didn't have anything on Ingleside. They didn't give me nothing on them.
What happened? Did your dog eat your homework or what?
Hey, man, that's actually happens, bro. That's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? I got bacon flavored notebooks over here. Yeah, no, man, it was more of a piss accident. I said he ate it, but he pissed on it, and I don't want to touch it now. So I was like, fuck that. I'm sorry. Anyway, so hats off, man. I'm going to go ahead and defer. We'll pull off of it and we'll move on to the next one. Good job on Ingleside's part, though. Hey,
Yeah.
but next week, we're gonna talk about that one.
We're gonna talk about that one here pretty soon. But no, just like I said, if I'm Coach Smitty or if I'm a player on the West Oso team, I'm telling myself, hey, we're 1-5, but we can still make the playoffs. And you gotta believe that. As a player and as a coach and a coaching staff, as a program, you gotta believe that there's still hope to make the playoffs. You know what I mean? And you go in with a losing record, but I mean, what a way to end the season, making the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You might get a win. Who knows? But you gotta be able to feel and believe that you can still make the playoffs if you win out. They're not gonna be Rockport, but they just gotta win 3 of their next 4 games. Next game we're gonna talk about is a game that was a lot closer than I thought it was gonna be. I really think that this game was closer than I thought it was gonna be. We got San Diego over Bishop, 28-20. So this is 4-0 San Diego versus 2-2 Bishop. And Bishop almost pulls it off. You know what I mean? So, Gabriel, I'm gonna go to you first, just because I know you got family over there. What's going on in San Diego? Why didn't they open this game up? I feel like this is a game they should have been able to do that. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on this game.
Well, I was kind of shocked. San Diego won, but I thought they were going to beat Bishop. Bishop's one of those teams, man. They're kind of scrappy. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. They've been dominant in years past, and then sometimes they're not. For a little town, they've got some athletes over there in Bishop, not just in football. And I've seen that over the years. I thought San Diego was the better team. They've been the better team all season. And so I thought they were going to win. But yeah, Bishop almost pulled it out. I didn't really, pay attention much till after the game was over. And I saw that San Diego won. So Bishop, I think, is a lot better than what I've given them credit for. But at the end of the day, man, my team won. And I think it's a good win for them. And my expectation of San Diego is that they'll be in the playoffs. And hopefully they'll make some noise. Usually they get in and they're done pretty quick. They don't go deep in the playoffs, I don't think. But it was a good win for them. A little concerning that they only beat Bishop, by a touchdown and stuff. But hey, Bishop came to play, man. And so San Diego's going to have to get a lot better, if they want to, make a run in the playoffs. But bottom line, end of the day, they get the win like they're supposed to. And we'll move on to the next week.
Well, I tell you what, they still got a tough road ahead of them.
Absolutely.
They got Lyford next, who's still undefeated, I believe. Let me see.
No, they lost.
They lost to London. That's
Yeah.
they only got 1 loss to London. 2 losses. I'm sorry. They also lost to Raymondville, I believe. Yeah, they lost to Raymondville and they lost to London. So they lost to a bigger school and then they lost to London. So they still got Lyford, and then they still got London. So San Diego really has to step it up to be able to I mean, they could win district, you know what I mean? All they got, if they beat that's the district championship, versus London in week 10. So we'll see. But Johnny, what are your thoughts on this game? I mean, it looks like we all picked San Diego to win this game. I mean, I thought I was surely shocked that the game wasn't by a bigger margin. What are your thoughts on this game?
I was also shocked by that. I mean, Bishop not that great on the football field. They are on a baseball diamond, but San Diego being undefeated, going into this game, San Diego pretty well taking the season pretty easily, man. But Bishop gave him a little game. I was very shocked, San Diego came out of the blocks real hard though, man, with old Hector Garza. He had an 80-yard kickoff return to start the game, so that's the second kickoff return of the season, so right then and there, those San Diego Vaqueros were up and pumped to start off the game, but he had a decent game. He had 5 receptions for 55 yards, a touchdown, and RJ Valerio on the passing, he was 9 of 13 for 100 yards passing and he also was carried the ball 18 times for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. On paper, man, it looked like San Diego pretty well took this, but Bishop was hanging in there. They were hanging in there, which I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, I couldn't find the box score on that game. So I don't know if they got the lead early and just kept it, and Bishop came back, or if they were just trading scores. I really couldn't find that. I really wanted to find out. I don't know if any of y'all know, were they trading scores, or did San Diego get the lead early and Bishop played from behind the whole game? Does anybody know?
Well,
That's all I got was the opening kickoff by
Okay.
San Diego. From
what
that,
what I have is just Bishop stats. I don't have anything on San Diego, and I see that the quarterback threw 3 picks. So Bishop was able to get that many more possessions. So they got 3 picks. No scores off of it though. No scores off of it. So yeah, I mean, I guess they just played the pass well and was able to stay in the game. That's all I really have. I had some tackle totals, but it's not a bunch. They had 50, 60, 62 total team tackles. So that's all I really got on that. But I always thought that those guys always play each other tough. That's one of those games that, regardless of the record, they're always going to play each other hard. Am I right, Gabriel?
Yeah, I think it is. Like I said, I think it was kind of like Ingleside and Arandis. Maybe they no matter what the records are, but man, Bishop, if they would have pulled this out, this would have been a big win for them, and a bad loss for San Diego, because like Tony says, they still got Lyford in London, and we'll talk more when we preview those games. But yeah, it's almost like that. They're gonna battle no matter what the records are. You throw them out. These guys are wanting to beat each other, and Bishop almost pulled it out. San Diego's got to get a lot better. They got to play a lot better against Lyford and London. They play like this against them, and they'll definitely get the loss.
All right, I got some stats for my assistant here. Box score. So it was 14-7 at halftime, and then San Diego scores 14 points in the first quarter, and then they trade touchdowns in the second and the third, and then San Diego closes it out with the touchdown in the fourth, and Bishop they're not able to score in the fourth quarter. So it was pretty neck and neck the whole game. Really, the difference is the fourth quarter scored by San Diego, and then the 2 touchdown lead they got in the first quarter. So pretty close game. I want to thank my assistant for getting me those stats. Thank you.
Line him up.
like I said, special teams win games, dude.
Yeah,
That opening
yeah.
kickoff, all they had to do was tackle the guy. That could have been the difference.
That's what it was, because then like I said, pretty much they trade scores the whole game. You take that opening touchdown out of the equation, and the game's tie. So next game we have Calhoun 36-7 over Beeville. Of course, no one picked Beeville in this game. Johnny, what are your thoughts on this score, or this game in general?
No, I can't go with Beeville against Port Waco on this one. Port Waco has been up and down, yes, but no, I just went Port Waco on this one, and they jumped right ahead in that first quarter, scoring 20 points in that first quarter, so they're ready for this game. One thing about Port Waco, and I think that's going to hurt them like it did last year. They just don't pass. They had 36 rushes, only for 292 yards, though. 292 yards on 36 rushes. They only attempted 1 pass, and it wasn't even completed. And that was basically it for their passing. And this is one thing they did last year. And I was on their bandwagon last year. And when they played against the Calallen game, I was all like, oh, no. Port Lavaca's run is going to do it. It's going to do it. It's going to do it. Oh no, it didn't do it. Calallen shut them down. You know, again, I think they need that passing to get somewhere out of this area. I don't think those rushes are going to do it. It after last season, how I done it for them, and I just don't see it this year. You know, they got to attempt more passes than that.
Yeah. Well, last year they did have a big tight end that they don't have this year, so that might be something. That might have something to do with it. Gabriel, what are your thoughts on this game?
No, I agree with Johnny. They're not going to get out of the area. You know, they'll make the playoffs. They're good enough to make the playoffs. Last year they had great running backs. I mean, they had some powerful running backs, and Calallen shut them down. I mean, we watched the game when it was televised, and all I did. And I think they don't have to pass, but they got to open up a little bit to open up that run a little bit. You know, a little dump pass, a little, you know, something like that. But yeah, I think the rushing that they have is going to get them in the playoffs in this district, but it's not going to get them out of this area. It won't go 3 rounds, and they haven't yet. So I'm not too sure what I think Calhoun's thing is we're going to run it, and everybody knows we're going to run it. And if you can't stop it, we're going to beat you. And if you stop it, then we're going to lose the game. So I think that's still the mentality that it looks like they have this year, like they have in the past. How far they'll get, we'll see when they play Calallen. You know what that rushing can do against a really good Calallen defense. On the other side with Beeville, it's just upsetting to me. You know, they just have not been able to get net go, you know, score one touchdown against Calhoun's defense. Shows that this offense is still struggling. Beeville's offense is still struggling to put points up, and it doesn't get easier in the district and the teams that they have coming up. So this is, I think, going to be another down year for Beeville. That's why I said earlier I thought Alice would take the playoff spot. They just seem to be playing a lot better than Beeville at this point. There's just a big gap there. Of course, you never know when they play what can happen, right? But Beeville hasn't shown that they can be competitive yet against some of these teams. You know, you lose, that's one thing. Alice is losing, but they're competitive. You know, they competed against Betts. They competed last week against a good Miller offense. So, you know, that shows even though you're losing, you're getting better. Beeville's not competing at this point. They're just getting blown out. So it just looks like it's going to be another down year for them. Will they win another game? We'll see. But it's just not a good year for Beeville and that coaching staff. And it's disappointing to me because I thought that they could at least compete for that fourth playoff spot, but it don't look like that's going to happen. Not to this point.
Yeah. And the thing about Beeville too is that they're kind of like Alice. I mean, their town rallies behind their team. So, you know, I wonder what happens to a town when the team's not winning. I mean, we talk about Alice, but Alice is almost beat one of the number teams in the area, the number 1 team in the area, and Veterans Memorial in the season opener. And then they're competitive in the rest of their games. So I mean, it's real easy to stay, you know, on your team's back when you're in games and you have chances to win games than it is for a team that's just really losing and really not even close in most of their games. I mean, you know, we know Coach Sosa has done a good job at several schools that he's been at, several programs he's been at, but I mean, they really are struggling in Bevo, and I really don't know what it is attributing to that. But you know, that's Beeville. Now onto Port Lavaca. To Johnny's point about passing, you know, they've completed 66% of their passes. Johnny, 66%, but they've only had 9 attempts and 6 completions in the whole season. 9 attempts in 7 games. That's
They don't
nuts.
throw it. They don't throw
That's
it.
nuts.
And they're not
That's
going to throw
unheard
it
of.
either.
That's unheard
Yeah.
of. 9 attempts in 7 games is really unheard of. I mean, unless you got a running back that's going to the NFL and nobody could stop them, that's different. But you know, they don't got guys putting up numbers like that.
Well, look,
In the tough district that they're in.
But real quick to the point, you know, I mean, Calallen runs a lot. They've got further, but you got to have a good defense to be able to do that. I mean, Calallen runs the ball out, but they have a good defense, and they've always had a good defense. So, but this is what Calhoun's going to do. At least that's what they've shown. They're going to run. If you stop it, I mean, you stop us, we lose. But if you don't, we're going to beat you. And it don't look like it's changing this year. We'll see what happens next year. But yeah, it's tough, and it's going to be tough. to get out of this area. Like Johnny said, you're good enough to make the playoffs, but what are you going to do in the playoffs? They haven't shown very much. High expectations last couple of years, and they've gone down the first or second round. So we'll see what happens this year.
I mean, you're right. I just looked at Calallen stats. They've completed 4 times as many passes, but that's only 37 passes than Port Lavaca. So yeah, definitely run heavy on in that district, with the exception of Alice and Miller. So we'll see. Like I said, the next couple of weeks will really tell the seeding in that district. Looks like Carolina's probably gonna win district for sure, with ease. And but as far as second, third, and fourth place, it's up in the air, and the next 2 or 3 weeks will really determine how that unfolds. Steve, do you have any input on this game?
Yeah, man. No disrespect, but I think it's time to turn the page on Calhoun. I know, and I'm being serious. They've been on our podcast for it seems like every week that we've talked about the Sand Crabs. And I know it's probably got more to do with the opponents that they're playing. And I'm looking at the remaining schedule, and I could probably see that continuing because they got Miller, they got Alice, then they got Calallen. Actually, they got Teloso Midway next week first. But so I guess we're not going to be able to turn the page on it. But they just they're just not doing it for me. Beeville's right there, but Beeville's a coastal bend. And I'll continue to support them and their program. I just don't, Calhoun, it's just not there for me. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy because of their history, right? And how great they've been in the past. But I don't see things getting any better for those guys. I know they're 1-0 in district, but the rest of the way, well, I guess they'll get a W against Teloso Midway, maybe, right? I haven't seen if TM's improved since the last time I seen them. They may have. I mean, they're 1-5 right now, but so we'll see what it do. But then they got Miller, Alice, and then Calallen. So that's murderer's row right there to end your season. You know what I'm saying? That's a tough way to end their district. So I think they'll have a good chance against Teloso Midway, and then after that it's gonna be tough.
Hey, but
Hey,
Tony, I'll say this, Tony. Alice's strength on that defense is not what Calhoun does, right? So we'll see how Alice does with the run. And we'll see. I mean, they can run the ball. The thing is, if you stop them, if they start having trouble running the ball, they're going to stick to it. They're not going to change it up. They're not going to, okay, we're going to try to pass. They go to the run, do or die. And we're going to keep doing that for 4 quarters. So if you find a defense that can stop them, they're done. If you can't stop them, they're going. And I want to see that game between Calhoun and Alice because I think it's going to be a good one. Not sure if Calhoun can beat him, but I think it's going to be pretty good. Might even be good with the Miller one. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we expect Calhoun to play better than what they have. And what we're saying is in the playoffs, they do real good. There's a lot of hype, and then boom, they fall. That's what happened to them last year. And we all saw the Calallen game. They didn't do much with those running backs when they faced the Calallen defense. They really shut them out the whole game. So it was the announcers were kind of shocked that they couldn't move the ball on Calallen last year. So now they don't have those backs. We'll see what they do this year.
hey, I tell you what, I don't know that Teloso Midway is going to be a walk in the park for Calhoun. I don't know that. I mean, like I said, I mean they kept the game close against Calallen. I think 33-0 is keeping the game close when you're playing a team like Calallen. It was only 14-0 at the half. So, and I don't think Port Lavaca is that good as far as comparing them to Calallen. So, I think Calhoun is going to have their hands full. I think they pull it off. I think they pull that win off, but I think they're going to have their hands full with Teloso Midway. Teloso Midway, they're finding a way to be disruptive on defense. I'm telling you, they're finding a way. They did it with Rockport. Rockport only scored 28 points on a team they should have blew out. Next game we have, I think same thing's gonna happen to Ingleside this coming week. Happened to Port Isabel. Their undefeated season came to an end when they lost 61-6 to Sinton. I think this was a no-brainer for all of us with Sinton over Port Isabel. Johnny, what are your thoughts on this game? I mean, did you think 6-0 Port Isabel or 5-0 at the time, Port Isabel was going to come in and be a challenge for Sinton at all? I mean, at all? They're undefeated. Did you think that they were going to come in here and get beat 61-6? What are your thoughts?
Competitive? No. Sinton scored 61. That's pretty higher than I really thought. Maybe I was thinking more in the 40s. I'm not shocked about Sinton only giving up the 6 points, but 61 is pretty up there against Port Isabel. But we all saw what Robstown did against Port Isabel too. So I should have looked at that too. But speaking of the 40s, but my question is did the other Gavon play this game? Did y'all see any stats on him?
I heard that two of Ingleside studs, they didn't give out names, but I heard two of their studs didn't play this game. So I don't know if the Galvans were one of them. They didn't
Ingleside or
give out the
Sinton?
names.
You
Sinton.
said Ingleside. Sinton? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Sinton, but their studs, they just said two of their studs didn't, four players didn't play. Two of their studs did not play this game, but they didn't give out the name. So it might be that one of the Galvans didn't play, or both of them didn't play. I'm not sure.
Because Renee got 60 yards on the ground, and Jarek Sanchez got 132 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns.
That's
And
number
Ryland
5.
Ryland didn't play.
So he had 18 carries. So it pretty well looked like he had the workload for that game. So that's why I was like, I didn't see nothing like that in there. So I figured he didn't play this game.
But
I'm gonna have to look into that now. Johnny, so Gabriel, you have anything to add on this game?
no surprise. Next.
Steve, so Port Isabel is undefeated going into this game. Did you think, and I know I've already heard your theory of the Valley teams, but did you think it was gonna be this big of a slaughter?
Yeah. No, I didn't see Port Isabel being able to put up a fight. That their undefeated record to me was just a facade. It was, what I'm saying? I knew they weren't going to match up with this team. Sinton comes at you from too many angles, and then to hear that that they ran their backup out there, the number 5, and he put up that many rushing yards. That's good. The kid needs it. I hope all they're doing is resting the Galvan because they figured they weren't going to need him. I hope that everything's okay with them and he's able to pick back up next week. And I hope this is just something that they're a maintenance thing just to try to keep him healthy. Maybe he's still nicked up from the injury that had him out early in the season, and they knew that they weren't going to need his help in this game right here. I'm hoping that's the case, and that there's nothing more serious. But yeah, no, I expected it. I knew Sinton was going to kill him, regardless of their record.
Well, I figured Sinton was gonna beat him pretty bad, but I figured being 5-0, they were gonna be a little more competitive. They didn't even have a chance. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, for Galvan to only have 60 yards rushing, they did a pretty good job. He usually has over 100 yards. Not against Rockport, but he usually rushes for over 100 yards. So I would say that they accomplished that. If he was even trying to run a lot, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was more of him taking the night off than, because if he really wanted to, he could have scored over 100.
Well,
Renee did have 146 yard passing.
Yeah, but I'm saying he normally passes for over 100 and rushes for over 100 in a game. So 60 yards, that's not a whole lot. So if they were trying to stop him, they on the ground they did. He only ran the ball 10 times though. So I don't know.
There was no need to run these guys and have them get hurt. When they didn't need them to really play. That's what I'm saying. I think Steve's right. I think it's more of just kind of saving these guys. I mean, they bring in Sanchez, get him some work. But I think if they really wanted to, they could have. I just think it was kind of like a light night because they know they need these guys for the playoffs. So
yeah, no, and they didn't bring Moody in. Moody didn't have any attempts, so it wasn't like they gave him some of they're sharing time back there in the backfield as far as a quarterback. Yeah, I got 0 attempts, no attempts by Moody, right? Moody's number 11. He's their backup quarterback. Is that right? Isn't that the kid who came in?
Brown.
Oh, okay, Brown.
Brown is the backup quarterback.
Yeah, well, either way,
he's a
I don't have
junior.
anything. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and they might be saving him, because Ingleside's still another big game. You know what I mean? And if I'm Coach Troutman, I'm thinking, hey, he didn't play until we played Rockport, and maybe he needs to, doctor up until they play Ingleside, because they still got, and that's the last game of the season for them. So we'll see. Next game I have, no surprise to me either, and looks like it was no surprise to all of us as well. Odem takes the win over Banquete 56-0. I don't know if y'all want to talk on that game or not. If you want to, Johnny, what do you got?
I give a little highlights to Hunter Dawson. 3 for 5 on the passing for. He had 13 yards. I guess I got 13. Not sure on that one, but he had 10 carries for 151 yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. Odom came up with 566 yards total offense. 566. I just had to throw that one in there.
Wow.
That all you got on them?
That's all I got. I was
Gabe,
surprised on this.
You wanna add anything to that, Gabriel?
no,
I got some, man. So
And they have 4 guys that rushed for over 100 yards.
4 guys over 100 yards, bro. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Jeez.
Wow. That's amazing.
I mean, I don't know what's going on in Banquete, but man, you let 4 guys rush for over 100 yards. That's saying a lot about that defense. The last game I don't got the score, but I know who won. Let me check it out real quick. We have the number 5 Stephenville over Waco La Vega. I don't got the score. Somebody can help me out with that. I'm looking it up.
35-7.
35-7.
Whoa.
Okay, 35-7. Stephenville over Waco La Vega. Now I will say, I thought Stephenville was gonna win. I did.
You didn't pick
But
him.
after the beatdown that they gave Miller, I thought Waco La Vega was gonna be more competitive than that. So I was really surprised to see that score. I was really surprised to see that score. Johnny, what do you think about that game? I mean, did you think Waco La Vega was only going to score 7 points? They scored over 40 points on Miller. What are your thoughts on this game?
I actually picked Waco La Vega to win this one.
Yep,
So I expected them to score more than 7 points on that. I never go with the highest ranking all the time. Again, La Vega's been playing some good games, some very state-ranked teams up there. The record has nothing to show who they really are. But man, they really pretty got manhandled with Stephenville. So I don't know whether they're state ranked down where they're at now, but I don't think they're going to be up there anymore after this. You can't compete anybody higher than you, especially something like that. I mean, they only had 191 total yards. Stephenville had 414, 247 on the ground. The quarterback, Ryan Lambert, he was 10 of 15 for 185, 3 touchdowns. He carried the ball 12 times for 146 yards and a touchdown. So him himself just ran over La Vega. I I really didn't think that was going to be such a lopsided game on that.
They did drop from number 7 to number 10, so they didn't drop a whole lot. But they're still in the top 10. So, man, when you lose like that, you stay in the top 10. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. Gabriel, what are your thoughts on this game?
I thought it would be closer. I picked Stephenville. I thought Stephenville would win, but I thought it was going to be a lot closer. I was actually shocked that Waco Vega was only able to get 7 points. But no surprise that Stephenville would win. I thought that they would, and they did.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey,
Hold up. Go ahead.
Stephenville actually jumped from number 5 to number 1 after this win. So they jumped Argyle. So Argyle's now number 2.
Yeah, well, they just
and
lost,
Stephen-
right?
Argyle lost
Yeah.
too.
Argyle's coming off a loss.
So they jumped to number 1. So that's pretty good. I mean, one game they move up 5 spots. That's pretty good. Steve, do you want to add something to this game?
No, I just want to admit defeat here. I mean, god damn. Yeah, no, I was with La Vega on this one, man. You know, just off of strength of schedule and who they've been playing. Stephenville came out of the woods for me, man, for real. So I mean, shame on me for not doing my due diligence on Stephenville. So hey, they're definitely on everybody's radar now. Those guys are putting in the work down there. So we're gonna have to check them out, man. They're gonna be the new kings of the hill down there. And
yeah, now that Carthage is in Division 2.
yeah.
Because I think Carthage could win that if they were in Division 1. I tell you what, I think Carthage is that good. So that concludes all of our games from week 7.
Hey, so
I do have the results.
Yeah, Gabe went 100%, huh?
Gabe
right?
got every game right. But he was picking safe though. Those are all safe picks.
Yeah.
So the records for this week, Gabriel with 9 straight picks jumps from last week 39-15 to 48-15 with a big lead.
Damn it.
I jumped from 35-19 to 42-21. And Steve and Johnny, you're still either tied for third or tied for last, however you want to call it.
We're tied for third, bro.
40-23.
Shit.
So that's where we stand after 7 weeks. Gabriel, that concludes the breakdown of week 7.
8 games
All
back.
right, guys, we're gonna jump right into the preview because it's getting a little late, so I don't want to take a break. So I know Tony's gonna lead us on the preview. Tony, I sent the schedule for the so we're gonna jump right into it. And on the preview section, we preview. I think it's week number 8 that we'll be previewing. We got a game of the week, and we still got to come up with a state game, guys. We'll talk about that at the very end. We need to get a state game. I didn't see anything from anybody. I don't usually pick the state games. I just kind of let you guys do that. So if you guys want to get down with that, we can talk about that on the 9th game. But we are going to start the preview, and we do have a guest for a preview. It's a guy that used to be on our podcast. He's got his own podcast now. It's the Big Skin Mafia, PMP. And he'll be on a guest coming on and off from time to time. But it's TJ Riddell. He is the owns the Big Skin Mafia podcast. TJ, how you doing?
Well, Gabriel, it's good to be back on the Gridiron. I'm so happy to see that the Gridiron's thriving and the Pigskin Mafia is starting to come back together. And man, I'm just glad to be talking about football. I'm glad to be on a podcast talking about football, man, especially high school football, because that's where it starts.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And I know that, we've got a game. We've got the Rockport-Fulton Pirates. We know you're from Ingleside, so you're going to be representing your Mustangs. I know you're outnumbered on this podcast, but I'm glad to have you. We've got a lot of respect. We've had Coach Hamrick here before, and we think he's doing a great job down there on the gridiron. The gridiron loves him. I think he loves the gridiron. But of course, this week, it's one time that we're probably going to have to go against the Mustangs, because of the Rockport Pirates. But you're here to shed some light, and you went to school there, I think, in Ingleside, and you also, I think, graduated from. Not sure if you graduated from, but I know you went there, so I know you know a lot of these coaches there in Ingleside. So we're glad to have you. He's going to be joining in on the picks, Tony. So as you go and preview, we'll also go to him, and he's got the schedule, and so he'll be making picks with us. So T, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you, and let's get going.
All right, welcome back, TJ.
What's going on, Tony?
What's up, man? So just real quick before we get started, Johnny did send out a state game. If y'all want to write it down so y'all can look it up while we talk about the other games. And I thought it was a pretty good one. We got 3A Division 2, number 9 Abernathy Antelopes 6-0 versus number 10 Idalou Wildcats. They're also 6-0. They'll be facing each other this week. I thought that was a pretty good. I looked at strength of schedule and everything. It's a pretty evenly matched game. I think it's a pretty good number 9 versus number 10 game. So we're gonna go ahead and go with that one. Johnny, you sent that one out, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was a good one. So the first game we have on the schedule, I'm just gonna go in order. I'm gonna put the game of the week at the end before the state game. So the first game we have happens to be 6-0 Ingleside Mustangs versus the 5-1 Rockport-Fulton Pirates. I'm really, really interested to see what Mr. TJ has to say about the Mustangs and if he is going to pick against the Pirates. TJ, what do you got?
First of all, I just want to say this. How is this not game of the week? How is this not game of the week? Because think about it this way. This is the first time that Ingleside has been undefeated since 2012, coming in 6-0. And with Coach Hamrick rebuilding that long legacy that Coach Heseltine had, that I was there in the dying years of Ingleside, he shedded light, rebuilt the program, literally rebuilt the high school, like the gymnasium, the indoor facility, everything. Morale's up. And honestly, I think this Ingleside team is underrated. So here's my keys to the game. So because of last year, I was in the sideline with the Ingleside Mustangs. I interviewed Coach Hammer. Very, very nice guy. And I can't wait to have coffee with him sometime. But let's get to the real portion of this. Keys of the game. Ingleside, do not get soft in the second half. What I mean is, do not give up. Do not get tired, because you start off fast, you play hard, you have a little bit of heart, but do not get exhausted in the second half like you did last season. The score last season was 42-14. The score did not indicate what the game actually was. And so from Ingleside's side, they have to stay conditioned in this game, because Rockport's got a very talented young quarterback at the sophomore position. Jay Seibert's son, he is a big part of this game. And also, they got really talented wide receivers. I think if Ingleside can open up more in the passing game and focus on the passing game more than last season. So for Rockport, take what the defense is giving you. Just like last season when Ingleside was starting to get tired in the second half. They took what the defense was giving them. So if the defense is giving you exhaustion, you take advantage of it. You attack. That's what Jay Steiber did last season. And now my prediction. This was hard for me because I don't usually do this. but I have full confidence in the Ingleside Mustangs. And guess what, folks? 41-35 in a very close game. Ingleside Mustangs all the way. 41-35. It's going to be a shootout, and I am excited to go to that game, and I am excited for the Mustangs, and they will be, and I say they will be 7-0 because they are a complete different team than last season, and Rockport cannot underestimate Ingleside if they want to win this game, and I have a feeling that Ingleside is going to remind them that last season was a fluke.
Okay. So what you're saying is you got Ingleside. I just wanted to make sure
Damn
made
right
that
I do.
clear. Okay. But you're also saying that they're going to miss an extra point.
It's possible. It's possible. You never
All
know
right.
in high school.
All
You
right,
never
man.
know.
It could be a block. It could be a block one because Rockport has a few of those.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
Johnny, I'm gonna let you follow that, Johnny. Who do you got? I know you picked against now. TJ, you might not know this. Johnny, I know you picked against Rockport before. Are you going with the 6-0 Ingleside Mustangs? Or are you going with the 5-1 Rockport Pirates? Who do you got, Johnny? Tell me why.
I know I got the Crew really shocked, and I don't even think I did that podcast. To tell you the truth,
No, you did not.
I
Yeah,
did
he had
not.
some
I did
mystery
not.
ailment. Yeah.
But Tony got my recording. I mean, wrote it down for me. The next podcast we got off air. The way Sinton played last year against us, with those Galvan brothers, how they played against us, I still saw some improvement that we could do, and I just went with Sinton with their just undefeated. No, not undefeated, but they're tough. It's a tough road to get to us, and it was hard picking
especially
against
district
Rockport.
play.
It was very hard picking against Rockport. I did it last year too. I did it against the Miller game, and we ended up pulling it off against Miller. This year was the Sinton game, so the Miller one was wrong, which I was glad we still won. Sinton, hey, I got the win on paper, but we didn't get the win on the field. Ingleside again coming here undefeated. You're right. We didn't really get much effort on this game of the week. It probably should have been game of the week. Big turnaround. We're going against a first place team, and on paper we're in fourth place. So this is something big for Rockport. But you're going on, TJ. You're going on last year's game. How the game got out of hand. How the players got tired. But one thing that we've been seeing this year is our passing game has really improved. Ace has gotten real comfortable back there. Very, very comfortable. He looked totally different than he did last year against Sinton. Guys all over him. Just making completions just all over the place. I think this is a big improvement for Rockport this year. Something that he was real rough on as a freshman last year. This year he has a lot of experience now, especially coming off that Sinton game. Basically that pass offense is something else. We haven't seen Choopy much this year. The boys, I don't know, maybe Steve has that stat. He hasn't had many carries this year.
Yeah.
I mean, last game he only had 5, but he's leading the whole area in average yards per carry. We talk about our review of our games. Some of these backs having 53 carries. We can't even imagine Choopy having 20 carries a game. He did have 17 against Sinton. He still had the 100 yards. So we haven't seen a whole explosion of our offense yet. But I think that passing is going to hurt Ingleside. Now, our pass defense ain't that great. So I know she mentioned about, opening up the game with y'all. I think that is our weakness. But I think it's going to be a lot of that O-line for Ingleside. Can they hold up our pass rush? Because Renee had a big trouble. He had a lot of trouble releasing that ball. But there have been teams that have been holding our defensive line. So it's possible, but can Ingleside's O-line hold our defensive line or our pass rush? Because that's been our weakness is defensive coverage. But I'm going to have to go with Rockport on this one. I went with Sinton, but I don't think Ingleside is as strong as Sinton. So, and again, we have that pass offense that wasn't there last year and a very more experienced ace this year. So I'm going to go with Rockport on this. Prediction on score. I think Chupi will have a big night. I'm going, okay, guys, I'm going 55. 55 to 55-14.
Hey,
55-14.
I don't know about that. Ouch.
55-14.
So that Steve doesn't think I wait to see what everybody picks before I pick. I'm gonna go ahead and go next, and it's just because I've already heard enough. So I respect everything about Ingleside, and I'm proud of them for being undefeated. But I don't think that the strength of schedule that they played so far gets them ready for Rockport. I don't think so. Their games that they've played, they're too close. The only big win they have is against Aransas Pass. I mean, and you could say Robstown 44-8 versus Robstown, but Ingleside played Rio Hondo and they barely beat them, and Rockport beat the pants off of Rio Hondo. They let Rio Hondo score 21 points, which is, I don't understand how that happened, but they beat the pants off of Rio Hondo. They beat them. They scored over 60 points on them. I don't think Ingleside is going to be able to stop the running attack. I think it's going to really open up Ace passing, and they're both going to have a big night. I think we're going to have well over 100 yards passing, well over 100 yards, probably close to 200 yards on the ground. And I really think Ingleside gets shut down offensively. I think the game's going to be big by a big margin. Now, TJ did say something that's true. Rockport cannot go into this game underestimating Ingleside. That cannot happen. I think that's probably what happened in Rio Hondo, and that's why they scored 21 points. And they cannot do this to Ingleside. They have to go in there playing with the same mindset that they had against Sinton. If they go into this game with the same mindset that they had versus Sinton, Ingleside does not stand a chance. I respect the coach, and like I said, congratulate the team for getting this far undefeated. But I think it ends this week. I really do believe that. I feel that, not because I live here, not because I'm a Pirate, but because I don't think that their strength of schedule has got them ready for this game. My pick is Rockport big. Steve, now you heard from me, you heard from Johnny, you heard from TJ. Are you going to split it? You're going to go with Ingleside? You're going to go with Rockport? Who do you got?
well, let's talk about the common opponent, okay? So we both gave up 21 points to Rio Hondo, right? So what does that say about us, right? We gave up 21 points. They scored, I think they scored 34. Is that right? 34 points.
34.
And that was opening district play. That was their first district game. Isn't that right too? Right. So man, I don't, Rio Hondo for me, and when we went down there to Rio Hondo, I thought the guys were kind of hung over from the Sinton game. I thought that they came out extremely flat on defense and gave up a touchdown on that opening drive. And I watched the coach on the sideline do something pretty funny. He made him do up downs right there on the sideline, and that's something that you don't see anymore. I mean, as they didn't even get off the field. He circled them up, made them do up downs right there on the field. Embarrassed the crap out of them, and then they settled down that second drive. They ended up giving up another touchdown before the half, but I really thought that they came into that game looking sluggish, looking like on paper Rio Hondo should match up with us, and we're just gonna go down there and railroad them, which they eventually did. But still, it took some luster off of that win, coming out there and giving up those 21 points, for me. But let's talk about Ingleside. Ingleside's doing some great things, man. I love some of the players that they have down there. Been watching them and watching them close. I like the Mabel, the Seth kid, the really big guy. I met him during powerlifting last year. Not tall in stature, but huge legs and a real power running back. I love their tight end attack. They got a really good tight end that they like to use down there, and the quarterback's playing exceptionally well. And the defense is really what stood out for me watching Ingleside's tape. So, I mean, with all that being said, Tony's right. I mean, the strength of schedule hasn't done no harm, but hey, like we've said many times before on this podcast, the boys don't make the damn schedule. You know what I'm saying? The coaches make the schedule and they set it up. The boys got to go out there and play the game, and they've been doing it. So you cannot take that away from them boys. They go out and they execute their game plan and what the coaches set out for them, and they do what they do, and they've been successful. So you cannot take that away from them. So I don't like necessarily hear that the strength of schedule. I know we throw that around. Tony's probably choking on his food right now because we do say that word a lot. Strength of schedule. So anyway, man, I'm a ride with Rockport on this one, and no disrespect, Tyler, no disrespect. I'm gonna say we're gonna hang it's crazy that Tony took my score because that's exactly what I had in my head. I thought we're gonna beat the guys 55-14. I think we give up a touchdown early and then one late. That's what I see. I just, it's going to be hard pressed for them boys to keep up with the defense and I mean, with our offense and how many angles we come at you with. We're not just the wing T formation now that we're in a shotgun and we're throwing the ball a whole lot more. It's going to be pick your poison, man. And it's going to be really tough. So I see a hard road coming Ingleside's way.
And they have to come to Rockport. I mean, they have to. I mean, that's tough. That's tough. You got to play Rockport at home.
But you know what?
Homecoming.
That's something to say too, man. Of course, if we say it after the game, it sounds like an excuse. But if we say it right now before the game, God damn it, them boys not to put, let that homecoming crap get to them and come out, not focused in the game. They got to focus on the opponent and try to take them out of the game early. You cannot let the boys, because Ingleside's going to play tough. They stick around in the games. They did last year, you know what I'm saying? And then, we tend to pull away from them. And that's not what we need. I don't think that's what Rockport has. They're talented enough to go wire to wire here. Now, whether or not that happens, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But we are talented enough this year. And then defensively, we're vastly better than, a whole lot better than we were last year. Hopefully we go wire to wire on this one and the boys really come to play and get all that homecoming bonfire crap out of the, Hey, they asked me to go decorate lockers today. You know what I'm saying? That's dumb. That's dumb. They did it last week too against Sinton. I thought that was a terrible idea. I said that takes away the focus from the game. They already got all this crap, homecoming stuff. That's enough of that shit. I just think it's crazy. But we stay focused, man. We should go wire to wire.
I do have to agree on you on the homecoming situation and all that. That's huge distractions for a team that, especially a home team like Rockport. It happens to Ingleside. It happens anywhere. homecoming can get the better of everybody. I've seen teams get blown out in homecoming. But I got to say this. Ingleside has a sour taste in their mouth from last season. I guarantee it. And I'm pretty sure Coach Hamrick is telling them boys right now after Monday's practice that we're going to practice hard and we're going to get ready for Rockport because we're not going to lose like that again. We busted our tails, and I feel like we can really play with Rockport in this game if we just stay conditioned in this game, and also if we don't get beat in the passing. That's what Mr. Seibert is really good about. Ace Seibert is really good at picking apart defenses in the passing game. And also, like you mentioned, the run game is going to be a key factor for Rockport as well. So defense has to step up. They, like you said, strength of schedule is all fine and dandy, but once it comes to the game and a rivalry game like this, strength of schedule is going to be tossed out of the window. I mean, look at the Texas and OU game. You know, anything can happen in a rivalry game. Anything. And this is coming from a Longhorn fan, sadly.
Hey, no. I hope I didn't say anything wrong because I think Ingleside's good.
Yeah. You're
I
fine.
think Ingleside has a really good chance to make it competitive. I just strongly believe that Rockport is gonna do their thing. I think that they have a bad taste in their mouth from having a loss. And as fans, we talked about, Steve just talked about how the luster got taken off of the win last week, 63-21 over another team. But the reason he said that is because we're used to not allowing that many points. We're spoiled fans. We're spoiled over here. We want to score over 50. And we want the other team to not score over 20. And so when they score 21, it's like, man, they scored 21 points. What the heck happened? Even though we beat them by over 40 points, that's just the way it is over here in Rockport. We have that kind of a team and that kind of firepower. And that's where we're coming from. But Ingleside definitely is competitive, and they have a chance to be if they capitalize on Rockport's mistakes.
Yes.
Gabriel, I know you're quiet over there, collecting your thoughts, listening to everyone say what they got to say. What are your thoughts? I know you respect Coach Hamrick a lot and the Ingleside Mustangs. What do you think about this game? I know who you're gonna pick, but tell me what you think about this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Rockport, but I don't listen. The last couple of years, Sinton's defense has been really good, and that offense was struggling to score. It's no surprise, and we've talked here how good their defense is. So I expect that defense to come out and do what they do. I'm not going to say that we're going to beat them 50 something to 14 because I got to give Ingleside a little bit more respect than that. But I think Hamrick's doing a really good job, and I think, like TJ said, being undefeated is big for them, and it should be. They've been working hard the last couple of years to get to this point. So this team is coming into Rockport with confidence. They probably understand that they're the underdogs and that everybody's picking Rockport and Sinton. But they've got something to prove, guys. The Sinton's got something. I mean, Ingleside's got something to prove. They want to prove something. So if we come in here and take them lightly like we have the last couple of years, they're going to make a game out of this, and then anything can happen. So if I'm Rockport, I'm taking this game as serious as I did the Sinton game all week long and prepare ourselves to play like we played against Sinton, because if we don't, and you let Ingleside hang around, this could become a game. And then all of a sudden, anything can happen. So I think Rockport will win. I think that Ingleside's getting better, but I wouldn't take this team lightly. I think they're a lot better than what we're giving them credit. We've had Coach Hamrick on here, and we said, we have you slated for the fourth spot. And he said, I'm trying to get to that first spot. So I think he's got his boys playing good. And Steve makes a good point. It's not the players got to go out and play, and they're just playing who they got to play the next week. And I'm saying this: Ingleside has done. They're doing what they're supposed to, whether we think it's a weak team or a strong team, right? But they're doing what they're supposed to do, which last year and the year before, they kind of struggled, I thought, with teams that they should win. So I think they're going to come in. They're going to play tough. They're going to be ready. I think Rockport's going to be ready. If Ingleside in the past 2 years, I'll say this, they started off tough with us, and then Rockport's kind of pulled away. That's been the last 2 years that I can remember. If Ingleside can play those 4 quarters, this could be a game, guys. You never know. I'm not taking Ingleside lightly.
Give me a score,
think that-
Tony. I mean, dude, Gabriel, give me a score.
No, I'm not going to give a score.
Oh,
I didn't prepare.
I could
for a score.
probably I could probably predict his score 28-21 Pirates, but
No, it won't be that close. No, it won't be that close. Yeah. We'll win
That's
by-
why I
no,
think
no, yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's respectfully declining to give a score. That's what I think that was.
Oh no! I think that we'll beat them by more than 1 touchdown, but I don't think we're gonna blow them out. I think Ingleside's a lot better. Yeah, I think defensively they've always been good, right? But I think their offense can score some points now. And Steve's mentioned this on the podcast before. They've got some strong boys over there.
strong.
They're strong, that powerlifting team. And now Coach Hamrick said a lot of that's turned into football. So they've got some guys down there. And guys, this is the thing we don't talk about inside. They want to win. They want to be like TJ. They want to be in the talks when it comes to the district play. And they know that this week, if they want to be talked about, they've got to compete. Win or lose, they got to compete. And I think they're going to come in. And Rockport's going to have to play. And they've been doing their thing. And I think what separates Rockport, they got the pass. And Ingleside's going to have to worry about the pass and the run. If their defense can compete, that's good. If they can't, they're going to get blown out. So that's why I think Rockport will win. I just think we're better on the passing game. But I think and I hope that it'll be a good game. Steve and I will be commentating that game from on top of the press box. So it's going to be fun. But I'm going Rockport. But still got a lot of respect. And I'm glad to say in here that Ingleside and Coach Hamrick are doing good, because I got a lot of respect for Coach Hamrick and those Ingleside Mustangs.
Absolutely. Well, that wasn't the game of the week, but that was the game of the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, it only
Yeah,
took
no
us.
kidding.
It only took us 30 minutes to get through one game.
So let's talk about this game. This is definitely not a game of the week, but this is a game that could go either way. We got the 2-4 Robstown Cotton Pickers. Can we still say Cotton Pickers, or is that offensive?
yes,
I
you
don't know
can.
anymore.
Yes, you can.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You're not
versus the
Hey, I don't know what you can do on not Columbus Day, on Indigenous People Day.
Oh, okay. And we got the 1-5 West Oso Bears. So this could go either way. Johnny, who do you got on this game? This could go either way.
Robstown disappointed me against Raymondville. I'm gonna have to go with Oso on this one. Gonna have to put a checklist on that wins that they got to get. So this is that one checklist right there they got.
Yep.
That's right.
So, TJ, who do you got? You got 1-5 West Oso, or you got the 2-4 Robstown Cotton Pickers?
Man, I was looking on Max Preps, and I saw possibly a good matchup, and it's going to be a struggle. Okay, I got the Cotton Pickers on this. I think they're going to pound the rock against West Oso, because West Oso does not have an offense, in my honest opinion. Even though they scored 20 against Ingleside, hear me out. Their average in a game is about 160 points a game, or 160 yards a game. If you can't open up your offensive playbook against Rockstown, which has improved since the last several decades, mind you, this is probably their best team that they've had in a while, Robstown. And I have to say, they have to pound the rock with the running back over in Robstown. I'm giving them a 21-20 victory, Robstown.
All right. I guess I'll go next. I'm gonna go ahead and go West Oso as well, because this is one of the games I think West Oso has to win to make the playoffs. I think they have a really good chance of beating Robstown. They need to use games like this to really put 4 quarters of football, 4 quarters of play together to win a game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think Robstown wants a district win, and this is probably their best chance of getting a district win.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I think West Oso comes out victorious in a close game. So I'm going to go with West Oso. Steve, who do you got, Steve? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get none of that.
Oh, I got my mic up. Hey, so listen, like I said, I'm pretty sure Smitty's counting down his wins and try to fucker. You know what he needs to get into the playoffs, and this is one of the games that he's got circled off. So this is a must win for them. So last week, you know, we said, you know, although the coach probably rolling over, you know, tripping, they're like, hey, you know, every game's a must win, but he's got to get this one in if he wants a chance at getting that 4th spot. And, you know, because I got him in the 4th spot, I got to pick him here. I got to pick him to get this win. And then again, against the 2 Valley teams, I think they'll be good enough to beat them. So, and the Cotton Pickers, like I'm saying, they just, you know, they're not bringing enough to the table for me. They're Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know who are they going to be the 40-point team, you know, that scored against who was that, Raymondville? No, Port Isabel. You know, are they going to be the team that, you know, scored 40 points against Port Isabel? Are they going to be the goose egg that they put up this week, or 6 points, or they're able to muster? So, yeah, no, I really don't got no confidence in Robstown right now. And, you know, West Oso's playing tough, like we've been saying all year, right? They're losing, but they're playing hard. And they're playing tough teams and that are still undefeated. You know, like Tony says, you know what I'm saying? They lost to teams that are still undefeated in their district right now. So, so it kind of validates that loss if you want to say that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to validate a loss, but you know what I'm saying?
I think it does. I think it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I'm going to go with the West Oso on this one. I think they win. I think it's a close game, but, you know, I'll give them a little 10-point edge.
Okay. All right. Gabriel, what do you think about this game? Again, like I said, this is a game that could go either way. You got 1-5 West Oso or 2-4 Cotton Pickers.
I gotta go with West Oso because I got them picked to go in the playoffs. But I think that they're gonna win by more than 10 points. I think that they're gonna be better. Robstown, you know, you saw them do good, then you saw them go, you know, last week do bad offensively. They didn't really get it going. So I think West Oso's district and the tough teams they played is really gonna pay in this game. So I think West Oso will win 2+ touchdowns.
Now this game can also go either way, just because of how last week fell. We got the 5-2 Flower Bluff Hornets versus the 4-2 Moody Trojans. Again, this is another game that could go either way. You know, Moody played a pretty damn good game against Vets last week. So, Steve, I'm gonna go to you first, Steve, so that you don't be picking who we're picking. Who do you got in this game? This is a tough one for me.
I said, like, I need to fall further behind. You know what I'm saying? That's ridiculous.
Are you waiting for Gabriel? You want me to go to him first?
No, I don't need Gabriel. Gabriel's nah. Every time I follow Gabriel, he leads me down the wrong way. So nah, I'm not doing that, man. So okay. So I mean, right now, Moody, I don't know, man. And then I hate to pick the Bluff too. So man, who put this schedule together? That's what I want to say, man. Who picked
This
put
was
these
one of the tougher
games?
games to pick. This is one of the tougher
Yeah.
games to pick. That's why I like this game, because this
That's
game
what-
could go either way.
Yeah, man. You know
3
what?
weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have said Flower Bluff, but
Yeah.
right now I don't know who I'm gonna pick. I'm waiting to see who you're gonna pick.
Yeah, well, I got the W. I had the W. I already did the thing, and I had the W by Flower Bluff. But now that I'm thinking about it, you know, Moody's playing tough. You know what I'm saying? They're hanging in there. Man, Flower Bluff's a tough team for me, man. I think they're definitely on the downswing, but they know they have to win. You know, GP has taken over that that area down there is just taking all the shine from that program. But it's a must win, right? Because they dropped. I mean, they're subject to fall out of the playoffs. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean, in my eyes, they're right now. GP's at 2. You know, they're kind of in there at 3. But I mean, they lose this one, they might be able to check out. Man, I'm gonna take Flower Bluff. All right. I flipped a coin. No, actually, I had the W by Flower Bluff, so I'm gonna stick with it. My initial gut told me stay with Flower Bluff, so I'm gonna ride with Flower Bluff. Johnny, who you got? Nah.
real quick.
Hey, Flower Bluff already lost the East.
Mhm.
They beat West. But Moody played damn good against the Veterans Memorial, Johnny. Just take that into consideration when you make this pick.
Okay, so I didn't get to look deep into this. Who has Moody played?
They played Vets last week. They
almost beat them.
It was 14-27. They played GP. GP really put a whipping on them. 56-7. They played Toloso Midway. They beat them 35-14. Jefferson, San Antonio Jefferson, they beat them 49-12. They beat Ray 35-14, and they beat Carroll 41-17. So they haven't played tough teams, but they come off of a really good game against Veterans Memorial last week.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick this one like I picked the Ingleside and West Oso game last week. Moody's playing those games to where like they're getting close to winning those games, but can they win those big games?
They haven't played one yet, except for
GP
Veterans Memorial.
and GP.
I think they underestimated GP.
Okay, but they can't win those big games. And I think this is a big game. Just like I picked the Ingleside also couldn't win those big games, even though they played some good games, good teams, which Ingleside, that's why I picked them last week. So I'm going to go safe with Flower Bluff on this, only because I don't think Moody can win those big games.
All right. Gabe, who do you got, Gabe?
I'm going Flower Bluff.
Whew, look at me wipe my sweat now. I made the right call.
CJ, who do you got?
You know, this was a really tough decision for me because shout out to Lester Johnson, who's an assistant coach over at Moody right now. He was at Flower Bluff now. But I got to say this. This is going to be a closer game than what Vets and Moody was. It's going to be a tough, gritty battle. But I think the advantage is Flower Bluff's defense. They have held teams. They have only allowed 94 points in this season so far. And they have scored 281 points in the season thus far. So I have Flower Bluff beating Moody, but it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. 32-28. And the reason why I say 32-28, because Flower Bluff cannot underestimate Moody, because Moody is a lot better than the past few seasons, just like Ingleside, just like GP. People have underestimated GP. I was one of those people that underestimated GP. And look what happened. GP demolished Moody. And GP is looking really good. But back to Moody and Flower Bluff. This game is make it or break it for Flower Bluff. And also a make it or break it for Moody. So Moody's going to bring the heat. But I give the edge to Flower Bluff because of that defense. It's gonna come down to whose defense is better. And I got to give the edge to Bluff on this one.
All right. I also have Flower Bluff as well. Next game. This was our game of the week. Um, I think this is one of those no-brainers as well, but probably one of the toughest games that we had to pick out of. We got the 4-2 Miller Buccaneers versus the 5-1 Calallen Wildcats. Steve, I'm gonna give you a chance to jump ahead right here.
Hey, bro, it worked for me last time, right? So I'm ready. So so Miller might have found something, like I said, in this close win over Alice. I said that earlier. That running game that they don't use. They got that big, huge back there. And 54 carries. Now, I know they ain't gonna go into this game and think they're gonna hand this ball off 54 times to this guy. But they should get back to their running ways and their passing ways. I mean, and Calallen's, they're gonna run the ball. They're gonna pound the ball. Epi and the horse is gonna run the ball. Epi's gonna get about 3 touchdowns. Probably run for about 250. So Epi's gonna do his thing down there. Miller. Hey, I'm gonna go with Calallen, man. You can't go wrong. If it ain't broke, don't fix. So I'm gonna ride with Calallen. I think Miller, honestly, I mean, even with the rest of their games, but I think Miller still something's up over there. They're having identity problems, it looks like. So I'm gonna ride with Calallen.
I agree. I agree with that statement.
Well,
I really believe Miller has some issues. Identity crisis? Question mark. Or
54 runs. 54 runs.
Yeah, 54 runs.
That's odd. That's odd. No,
It's
for one back. So that's what I'm saying.
one back.
One back last week. One running back.
So, I don't know what's happened to Miller, but I told everybody. So I got to give a special shout out to Texas High School Scoreboard, because every Miller fan was delusional, and I'm saying this in a nice way, that they thought they could beat La Vega from Waco, Texas. The team that got dropped badly by Stephenville. You got to understand, La Vega is a better version of Miller. And I predicted La Vega was going to run all over Miller, and they did, 48-14. There's something wrong with the defense, and there's something wrong with the offense. Though Jaden Brown is a really good quarterback for Miller. He really is. 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But you're going up against Phil Danaher, the winningest coach in Texas high school football history as of today, And I think Calallen needs to bring the pressure back to Jaden Brown. Keep pressuring him. Keep pressuring that offensive line. That's the biggest thing. Pressure on that offensive line. And they're going to do it. 42-21, Calallen.
You know what Miller's problem is? There's no Andrew Body. That's the biggest thing. Now we're starting to see what he was like. And Tony, I'm going to say this. I'm going to go Calallen, but I think it's going to be a little closer. I'm not going to give a prediction, but I think TJ's that score sounds pretty good. I think Miller will score, but I think Calallen's going to be too much. Offensively, they're going to be able to wear that Miller defense down as the game progresses. And that's what you see with Calallen. They wear you down. You see a game, they're up 14 to 7. You're like, man, it's halftime and they're up 14-7. Wow, this team's playing good. And then you see the final and they score like another 4 touchdowns, and it ends up being like 30-something to 7. So I don't think Miller's defense is going to be able to hang with that Calallen offense for 4 quarters. But I think it will be a little closer than what we think. I don't think Calallen's going to blow them out. I think Miller, if this quarterback plays good, and like Steve said, they've got they can run the ball. So it really comes down to the game plan. If they can run and pass and get a balance, that might give Miller and keep it close. But at the end, I think Calallen wins this game.
Hey, like I said, I think honestly, he might have found something there. If they do that, I'm telling you, if they mix more run into their offense, that might help them out. I just think that teams are figuring them out, and if they just use a little bit of run mixed in there, I think they'd be better off for it, man. And I think they're putting too much pressure on the sophomore quarterback to make like you said, he's not the guy from last year. And they might have found something this week with that running attack and Alice. So we'll see.
You think possibly a run pass option would help them a lot more if they
I do think so. But I don't think the coach has that mindset. I think he's just dead set on we're high flying, we're this and that. I'm just saying that maybe last week gave him a little peek into what he can do with this big back. How much workload did they put on that kid's back? And then, he didn't get, trust me, 250 or something yards with that many carries isn't a whole lot. He only averaged 4.7 yards a carry. That's not a whole lot, but I'm talking about the workload that the kid can take on. And, if they just cut half of that number down and that along with their passing, I think it just opens up the field for the young guy. So I don't know.
And honestly, you got colleges that are using the RPO a lot, and some of these high schools are now using it. Why doesn't Miller try to use the RPO system? And why won't they use that, for offensive sake? Defensively, they just got to get tougher on defense, I think. But that's just my take on Miller. I am really disappointed in the way their season turned out, even though they're 4-2 right now, but it's unacceptable the way they're playing. So I got to give my critiques out there.
Johnny, who do you got, Johnny? You got Miller?
Well, as Steve was saying, maybe Miller did find something. I want to know what Miller's ball possession was during the Alice game. It had to kill that clock, but Alice is Calhoun's a lot better at offense than Alice is. Alice used the air attack to score their scores. And Miller does a 50 carries a game. That's going to keep the ball away from Epi.
That's true.
But can Miller make those first downs?
Yeah.
Can they push the Calallen defensive line back over and over and over and over and over? You carry 50 something times a game, man. You got that ball clock all the entire game. But I don't think Calallen's gonna blow them out. I don't think Calallen's gonna score. Now, okay. If Miller attempts 35 rushes, I'm saying this now. If Miller attempts 35 rushes, I don't think Calallen scores more than 20 points.
I like that number.
That's a nice, consistent number right there. 30 plus carries, solid.
But I think Miller's defense is not there. It's never been there. It wasn't there last year. And it's not there, obviously, again this year. So I think Calallen's going to just put it away. I'm not going to say they're putting it away, but they won't stop Calallen. If this even comes down to a last possession thing, Miller's not going to stop Calallen. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But I'm going to go with Calallen on this. Again, and Miller's just going to go to the air attack the entire game. Calallen's going to take this easily. But if Miller stays on that ground 35 times, this could be something close. But I'm going with Calallen on this one.
All right. So the next game, we got 2-4 Alice Coyotes versus the 2-4 Beeville Trojans. Gabe, you're gonna go with Sosa, or are you gonna go with the Coyotes? Who do you got in this game?
No, I'm going Alice. I told you on the breakdown. Beaver just ain't done it for him, so I'm going Alice.
Y'all breaking up? Y'all
As,
breaking up.
Tony, as much as it saddens me to have to do that, Beaver hasn't shown that they can compete. Alice does, so I think Alice takes this one, and with ease too.
They are playing in Beeville. Just I know you like to know that sometimes. Johnny, who do you got, Johnny? They're playing in Beeville.
I was gonna
Huh?
ask that. I was
They're
gonna
playing
ask
in
that.
Beeville.
Actually.
2-4 versus 2-4 in Beeville.
I think
Beeville?
Alice is gonna. I think
Wow.
Alice is gonna get this, but I don't think they're gonna put it away just because they're playing in Beeville. And we're talking about how the outcome that Beeville brings out, the crowd they bring out, and how the crowd that Alice brings out. I think if they were playing in Alice, I think Alice would blow this away. But I just think the atmosphere there in Beeville's still kind of there, and especially playing a team that's evenly record with them. I think those Beeville people are going to come out and put a little shine into that Beeville team still. But I'm going to go with Alice still with this.
It's burnt orange versus burnt orange. 2-4 versus 2-4. The only difference is they're playing in Beeville. Steve, who do you got?
Yeah, man. There's gonna be so much burnt orange in that town that day. I would probably puke at the traffic light heading in, bro. So yeah, no, I got Alice, bro. I was on Alice's bandwagon early, and they didn't get me no wins. They actually got me a couple of losses, suckers. And I jumped off the Alice bandwagon. But right now, this week, I'm going to ride shotgun. So I'm going to put one foot on the little running board, and I'm going to ride outside the car for this week. Okay. So just because of their opponent and the season that Beeville's having, they're struggling really bad this year. And, Alice is going to come, they're coming off a hard fought game that they lost. But I guarantee you that helped build momentum for them. And in their eyes, I'm sure there's a few plays that could have changed the outcome of that game, possibly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but the stats really didn't jump out and tell that story. But after playing a game that way, I think they're going to come out on the high. And Beeville is still trying to, dig themselves out of a rut right now. So I'm going to ride with Alice and the burnt orange. Hopefully they wear white.
Oh, they'll be wearing white. They'll be wearing their away jersey.
There you go.
Well,
He'll be wearing burnt orange.
You scared if you didn't want to come back over here?
All right.
what about you, TJ? Who do you got?
Well, here's my take on the Alice and Beeville game. I think Alice is going to win fairly easy because I think Alice is a very tough team. And mind you, this is a battle still for the playoffs. Season's not over yet for either team. This is a make it or break it game for both teams. And Alice, they just showed how hungry they were against Miller. Take for granted, Miller isn't as good as last season with Andrew Body. But I think Beeville is not there yet to be able to match the veracity of Alice. And you did mention their passing game. Alice has a passing game now. And one of my biggest things, spread the defense out. If you're a passing offense, spread the defense out. Throw short passes so that way the safeties could bite in and you could throw that deep post route or that deep go route. That's what Coach Heseltine did for us for Ingleside. But I remember back in my senior year, we played against Beeville. After halftime, we were up big, and we got done with our stretches, and we came out of our tunnel with our flag, and we went midfield, and we started dancing on their logo. I feel like it's going to be one of those games because Beeville does not like Alice, and Alice does not like Beeville, but I got Alice winning 49-20.
All right. I also picked Alice in this one. The next game is another good one that could go either way. We got the 5-2 Lyford Bulldogs versus the 5-0 San Diego Vaqueros. Let's see. Gabriel, you got family in San Diego. You gonna go San Diego or you gonna go Bulldogs?
I'm going San Diego Vaqueros, baby, all day.
Ooh.
All
Homer.
right.
And I know that they I know that they just barely beat Bishop, and that was concerning to me while I was looking at this and thinking. So it had me thinking, but I've been going with San Diego all year. I'm not about to change now when they're undefeated still against Lyford. Who the hell is Lyford? I don't even know who the hell they are. So I'm taking San Diego.
Oh. You're saying who the hell is Lyford? They're the
All
team
right.
they're the team that's gonna end the undefeated streak. And they're gonna shock the Vaqueros on their beautiful blue turf. Or is that Freer? I forget. But anyway,
It is San
They
Diego.
just got
Yeah,
a
you're
blue
right.
turf.
all right. So I got that right. Lyford, offense. That's the key. San Diego, they gotta press down on the defense more. But I think Lyford has a better offense than what San Diego has seen. And honestly, this is the first big test for San Diego, not Bishop. Bishop was not a first test. Lyford is a big test. And Lyford has done some damage this season. So I got Lyford winning 38-21 against San Diego at San Diego.
See that?
Johnny, who do you got? Johnny, you got the Bulldogs that are 5-2. They got 2 more games under their belt than the Vaqueros do. Who do you got?
I've been with San Diego too. I'm just gonna stick with them.
Before Steve picks, because I don't want him to think that I picked who he picked. I also got San Diego Vaqueros. Steve, who do you got?
Working on it here. Checking my crystal ball.
Going with Lyford, I bet you.
My crystal
You're-
ball.
you're-
I really want to. Let's see.
Your papers are not dried yet?
Let's see. No, I'm on my
hang them
phone.
on-
Look,
You
look,
hang them
I'm,
on the horquillas?
no, I'm on my phone now. I got to do it on my phone now. So let's see here. Give me a reason. Give me a reason. I just need one reason to pick them.
Lyford?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. I'm gonna go with San Diego. I didn't
Again.
find it. I didn't
Again.
find it. I'm gonna ride with San Diego. Let's see what they got.
Oh man, again, 4-1, Rockport against Ingleside. Let's go.
Hey, he might catch up in 1 week as bad as we're picking, right? Let's see what he got.
All right. So
No,
the
they just
next
didn't
game-
play anybody, man. I'm looking at it. They beat
played
Kingsville.
Raymondville.
They beat Kingsville. Yeah. They lost. So
lost to
Raymondville.
Raymondville.
Yeah, no, they lost. But Falfurias, you know what I'm saying? Santa Maria, La Pinta, La Losa. Now, see, that's just not, there's just not enough quality wins there, bro. So
Yeah.
even their wins. So yeah, I'm good with it. I'm gonna stick with it.
All right. Next game I got Sinton Pirates versus Raymondville.
Let me go first.
I was gonna go first.
Johnny, who do you got,
Ah.
Johnny? I know Johnny likes to pick Sinton. That's why I'm gonna go with him first. So he can
He's-
say
he's
it on the
got-
air this time.
He's got seniority.
Raymondville had a big blowout last week. Huge blowout against a team that I picked. But nah, dude, this is nah. This is
You
too
going with
easy.
Sinton again? 2 weeks in a row?
I've been right with Sinton all season, dude.
Yeah.
Even against us.
You got
That's it.
Sinton?
This is not gonna be fair.
You know they're traveling to the valley now. You know that, right? Hey,
They're a little closer than we were.
that's 2.5 hours. Well, no, I guess
they jump on 77. It's right there.
yeah.
2
So
hours.
you take away the half an hour drive it is from here to there, right? So it's a 2 hour drive.
So who do you got, Steve? You gonna put you down for the Bearcats?
Hey, listen, if you spot me 50 points, I'll take Raymondville right now.
For real?
Yeah.
They just beat Port Isabel 61-6. So
Who?
you said 50 points?
Yeah, spot me 50.
Yeah, I think they'll still beat them
Yeah.
with that 50.
Oh man.
I don't know, man. I tell you, there's something about that bus ride, bro. I won't be surprised if Sinton came out and struggled to get to 50. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Raymondville scores on them, but I'm saying there's something about that drive, bro. That drive is
It took
no
us
joke.
to get going.
It's no joke out there. So I mean the drive, you know what I'm saying, and the fatigue that it puts on your body, sitting around because they leave early and they're there and they're waiting. Anytime you take yourself out of your regular thing that you do, you know what I'm saying, it's always a sluggish start. I mean that's so. I look for a slow start by Sinton, and they already are a slow starting team to begin with. You know what I'm saying? We all know that, and even the coach said it. They struggle to get out of the gate. So that's going to play a factor, but I still think they're going to blow them out pretty good. So if you would guarantee me a win, if you'd say, hey, Steve, if they only, beat them by 49 points, you'd get a win, then I'd take Raymondville.
You'll get your 2 points right here, Steve.
Oh, is this a sleeper pick?
The sleeper pick.
Yeah.
Is this going to qualify as a sleeper pick? Nah,
Give me
hell
4
no.
if you get.
Yeah. Nah, it's not gonna happen. It's not in
Who
the
do you got,
cards.
Gabe?
Yeah, I got
Sinton or
Sinton,
Raymondville?
obviously. No, I got Sinton, but I'll just add this real quick. Guys, we're going to get in the playoffs. I don't know how healthy. I know they got a defense, but if Rylan Galvan, and I don't know if he's hurt, but he hadn't played a lot like last year. This could hurt Sinton in the playoffs. Got something to keep an eye on. And they won't need him with Raymondville, but you get into that, second round, and we've talked about in this district real quick. The first round, it may be okay, but we get into that second round, it starts getting really good. And I just don't know how healthy Rylan Galvan really is. And Steve made a good point when they were coming up to Rockport. He really hasn't gotten on a roll. When you play a lot and you get the ball, you get on that roll, you start feeling it right. He has been off. He hasn't gotten those, 3-4 games in a row. And I think so. Could that come back to bite him? Not this week, but when you get into the playoffs and any more injuries that they may sustain, you never know. How healthy is he? Are they keeping him out for, because we don't need him, or is he really 100%? I don't know. So this is something to just look for us to continue to look at, because I think when they get in the playoffs, if they don't have a healthy Rylan Galvan, their season could end quickly. He's a big part of that. I know they got Renee, but the thing with them is that the Galvans make the difference. And if you don't have to worry about one, you can actually key on the other and you're a good defense. So Rylan becomes how healthy is he? We'll start to see, but that's something to keep an eye on. But for this game, I'm going Sinton. The ride, it'll be tough, obviously, but they're just a lot better than Raymondville, and they'll get the win on Friday.
Early on, I said that about Galvan, him not playing the preseason and all that stuff. Then he comes out and scores 6 touchdowns on his first game back before he played Rockport. So that kind of shut me up behind that. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember who he played. Who did he score that on? He came out. It was before they played.
Is it Robstown or West Oso? Might have been West Oso.
No, it was West Oso, bro.
West
That's
Oso,
right.
yeah.
It was the first district game. Yeah, he scored 6 touchdowns on his coming back after that long layoff. So I don't know. I really do hope it's nothing serious, and it's just rest that they're trying to focus on. But you're right. I mean, there's something to say about not taking those hits, week to week, that your body could be subject to injuries when taking off a big hit when you take that many plays off.
And then you got a Quero team, you've got a Navarro team, a Wimmer. This to get out of this reach is going to be tougher than it has been the last 4 or 5 years. So that's what I'm saying. You haven't really gotten that road. Could that come back to bite City? We'll find out.
All right, so I got everyone for Sinton. TJ, you said you were taking the Bearcats, right? Is that what I got? No? Did
It's
you
another
pick?
4-1.
All right, I did not pick yet, and
Oh.
I got a statement to say first to all the Sintonites on Facebook trolling your own team, saying that y'all could beat Carthage. Get
Oh,
out
come
of town. There's no way. There's no way. Carthage could possibly be a 5A state champion if they really wanted to. But anyway, back to the subject. I don't think Raymondville is going to beat Sinton. There's no chance. Even though it's a 2.5-hour drive, Sinton still has that it factor in this district. Raymondville, they're struggling. They haven't been the same Raymondville that we've seen over the past few years. And we talked about this last year on the Gridiron, what it was going to be like for all these other schools like Port Isabel and Raymondville to face Rockport, Sinton, and Ingleside. Well, here you have it. And these teams are struggling. And I don't know if it's injuries or I don't know if it's a level of competition that they haven't faced before. But I think this game has to do with competition. With or without Galvan and Raymondville's lack of aggression on defense and offense, I got 49-21 Raymondville. The only reason why I got 21 points for Raymondville is the simple fact that they will play at home at a comfort zone.
All right. So the last regular game in the area that I have the 7-0 Veterans Memorial Eagles versus the 0-6 Carroll Tigers. Y'all want to just breeze by? Y'all want to just put y'all's name where I know it goes, or y'all want to talk about this game?
Check mark.
Gabriel, I'll go to you first, Gabriel.
Well, I love Carroll. That's why I put him on there. Not does
My
Carroll really have
God.
does Carroll really have a chance against Vets? No. But you know what? I'm so ahead of you guys that I could take Carroll, get the loss, and it wouldn't even affect me. But
Wow.
but I'm gonna stick with Vets. We just had the coach in here, and I'm not gonna go against him. So I'm going with Vets. But I know I put that in there, and I thought somebody was gonna give me. I thought somebody was gonna say no, we don't need that, but nobody did it, so it stayed on there. So anyway, I'm going with Vets.
Steve, who do you got, Steve?
I want to see a Ramses pass on this list next week. Okay. That's what I want. I want to see a Ramses pass on this pick list. Okay.
Ramses pass versus Carroll.
If
Then
we're
maybe
taking-
that-
That's going to be the game of the week right there.
We're
Ravens
taking-
Pass versus Carroll.
We're taking ducks over here. All right. Let me see what I got. So no, let's go with the Vets, man. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Johnny.
I started off liking Carroll at the beginning of the season, then it quickly turned down on me. I thought they were going to be a turning point of the season, a little bit better, an improvement, but no, they're I'm not seeing it this year. So that's easily on this one.
All right, and TJ, who do you got?
This is like watching Georgia face a FCS school. 42-17 Carroll. Or I'm sorry, Vets.
Y'all heard
Vets.
it. Y'all heard it. I already marked it down.
It's Vets. I got Vets with the win easily.
All right. So that concludes our area round of the week 8 Gridiron. We got our state game. Our state game this week is going to be a 3A Division 2 game. We got the number 9 Abernathy Antelopes versus the number 10 Idalou Wildcats. They are both 6-0. Let's see. Johnny, who do you got, Johnny?
Man, I thought we were
Number
going to go
9 or
Gabriel.
you got number 10?
I am actually, I'm not going to say why, but I'm going to throw it out there quick. I'm going to go with the number 10.
All right.
Because I don't
You
want to
wanna
put it
say-
out there for anybody.
Steve, he doesn't want to say why, Steve.
I'll
you got?
tell you why, bro. Because in the animal kingdom, an antelope will never beat a wildcat. Okay? An antelope will never beat a wildcat in the wild kingdom. Thus, I'm going with the wildcats. Okay, it's just nature. Let nature take its course.
That's one crazy.
That's why you wanted to pick them too, right? Huh?
Come on, time's
All
ticking,
right.
guys. Come on, come on.
Who do you got, Gabriel?
I'm going number
Tony's
10.
faster than everybody on this one.
I'm going number 10, Tony.
See,
Man, see, you should have gone to him first.
see,
Who do you got, TJ?
everybody picked the same winners this week.
All right, so everybody's talking about Animal Kingdom this, Animal Kingdom that, all that crap. All I hear is crap. Let's state the obvious, man. I got Abernathy in this win because they have been by far the most impressive team besides Ingleside on this list. I truly think they're going to be a powerhouse against Idalou. It's going to be a close game, but it's going to be one of those games where Idalou is going to have a lot of trouble against that offense. So I got Abernathy Antelopes. I represent the underdogs against the Gridiron, apparently.
He's gonna pass us, me and Steve in 1 week, dude.
Well,
damn.
it is not they're not the underdogs, they're number 9.
That is true.
And
They
I
are.
know why they picked Idalou is because Abernathy is not blowing teams out, and the teams that they played haven't won a lot of games. I know that's why they picked them.
I was gonna say,
But
how many points?
I mean, the last
how many points did each
game.
one of them scored this year?
No,
I mean-
my thing that tilted my decision was that they wear their more predominant color. They wore the stronger color, their uniform.
I thought it was Animal Kingdom. Now
That
you're
too.
bringing color into this?
Yeah,
Hey Tony, that
Animal
was one thing that I saw, but that was
their
real
color, their
quick.
uniform.
So I didn't get no totals on that.
I don't know that the week 1 win over Shallow Water got me picking number 9. So
You're going
me and
9.
TJ, me and TJ got 9.
That's
Okay,
what
so-
I'm talking about.
I went with the common team.
Brownfield?
Idalou against
Littlefield?
Littlefield. Yeah, that's what made me decide on that. And like I said, Idaho looks like they've been scoring the most of the points, and obviously the common team they scored 56 on Littlefield, while Abernathy whatever had 35, and
I
also
mean-
gave up 20 points compared to 13 on the other one. So I just went with the common.
Did you read the comments though? That they played their JV.
But
So
I got Abernathy because they blew past Reagan County 70-18,
Yeah, but look at Reagan County's record.
3-3. That's
I'm
500.
going with the shallow water. That's what did it for me.
Same here, Shallow Water as well. I thought that was an impressive win over Shallow Water.
Littlefield.
All right, y'all. So that concludes week 8. Gridiron
Who did Gabriel
predictions.
take?
Gabriel took number 10 as well. So we got 3-2 on this one on the state game, but that completes our games. Everything's locked in. I didn't see nothing crazy besides whoever picked Robstown. I can't really tell my chicken scratch there. Somebody picked Robstown. Somebody else picked Lyford.
That was
somebody
me.
picked. So
That was
we'll
me.
see what happens.
That was it.
Until next week, we'll know. But Gabriel, I'll let you close us out.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was great. We debated. I know we went a little late, but it was good, man. And I think it's really good. We're not just throwing, just babbling. You guys are bringing in stats. So
Other
everyone's
than
going along.
the state game,
What do you mean?
What I like that you
legit.
guys are doing is taking longer, but man, you guys are bringing up stats. You guys are doing your research, and that's good podcasting. I love that. Our picks. So thank you very much. We'll be back with tomorrow. GT Sports will be traveling to Calhoun. The Rockport volleyball girls are going to be playing down there. Big district game, second round. It's going to be a good matchup. So GT Sports will be there. Hopefully we can get everything situated with the reception. I don't know how good it is out there in Calhoun, but if we can, we'll definitely live stream the varsity game starting at 6:00. And then we'll be back Wednesday for the Pirates Cove. But I want to thank the guys, the Gridiron 64 crew that came in, and also our guest. Tonight you'll see more of him on our podcast, owner of the Pigskin Mafia podcast, the PMP, TJ Riddell. Thank you for joining us, man. We enjoyed having you on and talking some football with us. And I know you and I are working on getting something done on the GT Sports Unlimited. So we're working on that. But thank you guys very much. You guys have a great night. But before I go, guys, anybody want to go with me to the Calhoun tomorrow? Anybody going? Or you guys still thinking about it?
I'll go with you.
Good, John. All right, Steve, I'll give you guys a call. TJ, thanks a lot, man. You and I we'll be talking later on. They'll be seeing you more as we're working on something here. Hopefully we'll have in a week or two. But until then, guys, thank you very much. You guys have a great night, and we'll see how well we did on our picks from the GI 64, man. We'll see you guys next Monday.
All right.
Later, guys.
Night, everybody.